And we are back. To everyone that has stuck with us through this technical pause. We appreciate you. We see you. I think I said that in the wrong order. But either way, we are happy that you are here, ready to watch some UAL action once again to kind of refresh your mind. We do have AOE veterans on the blue side and mAAd City Wildcard on the red. So let's go ahead and run through the players. So AOE veterans on the blue side, we have Black Armored in the top side, Average Jungle Enjoyer in the jungle, Stormblade in the mid, BU Midnight at ADC, and Morningstar at support.
And on the red side here, it is mAAd City Wildcard with Axum in the top lane. I am Javi in the jungle, Emperor May as the mid laner, Nutty Bars as the AD carry, and 35701. We'll have to find some other way to say that support.
Hey, listen, it's just 357. Listen, even though if he's the first, second, third, I don't know. It's 357. I like it. What if 357? What if 357 pulls off a 619? Ooh. I don't know how that would work.
I don't.
I tried. All right. So getting into things a little bit. Of course, the technical delay has been fixed, but we do have some interesting summoners actually coming out here. I did want to kind of point out both ADCs saying it is a little bit dangerous in the bottom side. So we do see the cleanses for both of them. But the supports, Morningstar going for that heal, and 357 going for the ignite, shows very different styles that they might be playing.
Yeah, and kind of surprising as well in a way with that Seraphine, because normally you see the Seraphine run the exhaust instead, but because there is a cleanse on the AD carry, because they are going to be the one having to cleanse out of all these CC, it makes sense to get that heal. We are not necessarily looking to dominate the lane. You're just kind of looking to provide that utility in the mid game. Although my eyes instead are drawn to these mid laners, because Sylas into Victor is an interesting matchup. We talked about the fact that Victor is gankable, but in isolation, the range advantage is strong. And I'm bringing that up because Emperor May actually started a Duran shield. And that really tells me that maybe we don't see the ganks coming through. Javi might not prioritize that. And there's a pretty good chance Emperor May has to deal with this isolated 1v1 for an extended period of time here.
Yep. Already saying that to concede the lane is the best option. And if that's true, then Stormblade, we should see start increasing his farm lane very quickly. It looks like he, when we did get a quick glance over, it was stacking up that mid lane. So hopefully going for a freeze, maybe working his way around that. Both junglers have started on their clear paths. Keep in mind that they did start on opposite sides. They did start on their blue bus rotating into their red. And of course, the Trundle, Javi, already looking for a potential either invade or gank.
And if he is looking for that topside gank, then Axum needs to shove this wave a little bit faster here. It's not in a great location. Black Armored has put it perfectly outside his turret for now. And as long as it's there, Javi can't look for this gank. It's under a turret, and you're not tanky enough. Renekton's not tanky enough to tank it for you.
Don't want to try that just yet. And of course, if we are to go into that kind of massive farmland, I want to ask you, who really benefits from that? Which team would benefit the most from just a stalled out farm game?
I mean, it goes back to how we're saying where the strengths of the teams are. Both teams would be okay with that. AOE veterans would be happier within the short term because they're just trying to hit 6 first before they really start to come online. But mAAd overall, I mean, they're the ones who scale better. So it's less about the early game here, Orbital, and more about the mid game. What can the teams do? Early game is just all set up right now. If you can get certain lanes ahead, if you can find the advantages so that you get a bit of a better push, a better advantage in the team fights in the mid lane, that's really what they're looking for here.
Well, doesn't look like we'll get too much still. Like you said, the early game, everyone's just waiting, and we'll probably wait even more because it is a Cloud Dragon to kick things off. Not exactly the most entertaining dragon of all, but it's still nice to have, right? 12 ability haste. Very nice to set up on your ultimate.
And I'd actually argue that Ocean and Cloud are two of the better Drakes to get as your first Drake because they're the most impactful early. Your ultimates are at their longest, in the early levels here when you've only got rank 1. So if you pick it up, it is quite a boon. I feel like if mAAd picks it up, it's even better because your Sylas then can rotate through ultimates even quicker. And the ultimate on Sylas is not the same cooldown time as the actual thing. It's just the hijack ult cooldown there.
Yeah, kind of twofold in that sense. However, topside Axum looking like he is having a pretty strong advantage. You can see the mAAd on Black Armored is really, really rough right now, so can't even stay for this next wave, meaning the Renekton, just as the Renekton does, is winning out on this topside pretty heavily.
Yep, exactly as planned, exactly as expected. And more importantly, what you're trying to do is force that TP out from the Wukong. You can already see that Black Armor has to do that or miss an entire wave. And Axum here doesn't. You can walk back to lane, or you can set up for a bot lane play if you want. We're not quite at the 6th stage, but remember, if you can, get some picks, get some kills early, maybe get the dragon as well, then you give AOE veterans less opportunity, less objectives to really bring their full team fight composition to.
Junglers slowly moving over to that dragon, and it looks like Javi is going to be the first one to kind of move a little bit closer, right? You can see him positioning there. He is down in a single farm, but the Iron Spike Whip versus the Phage might be a big difference. Very curious how that will play out.
Ooh, average jungler's not there. He went for dragon instead.
Ooh,
I don't know.
This is a huge play coming out right now of AOE Esports veterans, and now we're going to get the flash out. Now we're going to call the teleport as well. To be first blood. Morningstar can't contest Stormblade. Unfortunately, he's in the middle of 4, has to flash away. Nutty Bars is going to try and flash as well. Now they're going to keep chasing. That's going to be the Silas dropping the mirrored Chaos Storm, and I don't think it's going to get much more. Midnight getting zapped away, but average jungler not having a good time. That is going to be Mad City Wildcard picking up first blood.
Oh no, and AoE didn't manage to get anything off of that as well. Average Jungle Enjoyer was on Dragon, but had to peel off, and now it's Mad City who get to set up for this Dragon. Nutty Bars is low, but there's not enough engage to come through here. Everything got blown early, and the bot lane is not 6 yet. There's no Enchanted Crystal Arrow, no Encore to follow up.
Yeah, just a difficult motion, and again, we heard Mad City say it. We heard them say that they were a team that no matter who they play against, they are confident that they are going to have a good time. And so far with that early aggression, we did see the attempt on the dragon by average jungler, but very well played by the side of Mad City. We'll see if they can keep it up. Again, they got one. Next one is going to be the Ocean. I want to see if they can keep stacking these dragons, keep up this momentum.
Yeah, and the other question too is now that we're starting to see 6s being hit, the ultimates are starting to get unlocked here for AoE veterans. Their composition is going to feel stronger right now, and I want to see what they can do with it because it's early yet. And even though level 6 is when you get ultimates, you don't usually see the big skirmishes till like 10-minute mark, 11-minute mark for the most part here. So we're going to see 2-3 ultimates come through at a time, more likely, and that's when your mechanics matter a lot. Orbital, for a team that says they're not a mechanical team, that's kind of worrying.
Yeah, and considering they're getting rotated on as well, that's not what you want to have happen.
Oh,
the hook lands.
Max range.
Stormblade has nothing in the tank. And the roam works. 357, getting a second kill for his team.
Yeah, not much you can do there. Really good rotate up here. And that's one of the things about the Seraphine versus the Thresh and tank supports versus Enchanter supports. Tank support roams just feel so much more impactful because they carry solid CC. It's easier for them to get them off. And Morningstar Midnight down in this bot lane, there's no answer. There's no pressure. Nutty Bars is still getting the farm.
Yeah, he's great. He's happy. He's safe. And you can't even try and fight him, and that feels bad. Morningstar and Midnight, both of them are looking for it. Now that's going to be the level 6 coming out. Encore lands. They're going to try and make it work, but again, that is still the Dark Passage keeping alive. Javi taking very low on that side, and the hook, just on the side of Morningstar. Now they're going to try and duel it out. Nutty Bars ready with the sniper, I believe, plus Chakram, so not exactly the most optimal gun combo, but still a pretty healthy dose of damage.
Yeah, now switched over to Gravitum. Now they've got the CC, but no damage here, and that's those gun combos. I do want to touch on this top side, though. Javi?
Yeah, Javi went for the red buff. Oh, the pillar. Pillar tech, baby.
Yeah, I feel like Trundle is one of those champions where it really tests your ability to make the right decision at the right moment. It's not, one of those QWER face roll champions. You get one pillar. You put it right, it saves your life, just like we saw there. You put it wrong and everything goes to crap really, really quickly, or it just does absolutely nothing at all. So I'm glad to see that pillar being used so well there. And it does hurt for the Xin Zhao, but at least for AoE veterans, they did manage to pick up the Herald while we got that bit of a back and forth between the top and bottom fight. So they're not in the worst position right now. That gold difference we see can be quite quickly nullified.
Not the worst, but not the best either. You can already see the pressure that Mad City are applying here on the bot side. They know Midnight and Morningstar are, I want to say, the weakest lane to gank. And so why not apply the pressure? Why not continue to give Nutty Bars and 357 those advantages? I mean, top lane, right? Already going in Axon's favor. He's having a blast there, just bullying out the Wukong in the mid lane, right? Emperor doesn't really have to win lane. Just keep the Victor there, not let the Victor farm up, and you've won your lane pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, the thing is that Silas isn't supposed to necessarily win into the Victor. So the fact that Emperor May is able to, constantly apply pressure, get that kill as well, is absolutely huge. And the Silas skilling is going to be really big as well in these fights. Yes, Victor's a team fight monster, but in rotation, as long as Emperor May moves first, Stormblade has to be careful. Is he going to get picked here?
Got tagged. Slow is there. Hobby's ready to go. Still no flash. Pillar tech, baby. Hashtag pillar it off. And average jungle enjoyer might be dead as well. Emperor is probably going to dive under. Yeah, that's just a sweet double kill. And again, a Mad City wildcard showing they can get pretty wild.
Okay, this is not good for AOE veterans. They're falling into quite a deep hole right now. And their bot lane, which did get shoved up, is in danger.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was worried.
Yeah, 357 being willing to flash just kind of shows the exceptional prowess they have and the aggressive nature that the team is already set, right? The pace is already accelerating. This is going to continue to happen over and over again. And remember, a flash from a Thresh, I think, is worth a little bit less than a flash on a very immobile, squishy support like that. It's now Morningstar is just literally a sitting duck.
Yeah, and it goes back to sort of Enchantress supports versus tank supports. Tank supports, you're designed to try over and over again. If it doesn't work, no big deal. You're just waiting for cooldowns. For an Enchantress support, though, that's your lifeline. That's your engage tool. Without that flash, the Encore is going to be really difficult to line up here. 3v3, 4?
Yeah, and an early teleport might make it a 4v5. Teleport is coming in. They're going to go ahead and Stormblade is going to help assist on a kill, but I mean, the deaths have already come through. Cyclone is there. Encore lands on 2. Can they get the backline? Black Armor trying to make it work. Mirrored Encore doesn't land on anyone, so it's all up to the Wukong. Can he find a little bit more? No, the team is not going to help him out. So overall, a win for the side of Mad City Wildcard. They're going to chase a little bit further, but the slow is there from Morningstar. Emperor's going to dash. Oh, he flashed into it. Oh, that hurts. It wasn't expected, but it did happen. Now Axum's going to go under the tower. Can he get the kill? One more attack isn't there. Axum, you know what? You didn't get the kill, but you got out with your life.
Oh my goodness, that was so clutch under the turret there. And Mad City, they ain't messing around. They're out for blood here. And the sick part of all of this is that dragon is still up and standing. And if you are to go back to it for both of these teams here, I know that AOE veterans still technically have 2 ultimates on their side, but with that Chaos Storm, with that Crescent Guard, if both sides base and come back, I still don't think you'll win it. And then Mad City can just go bait you there. Either you come and stop them, or they get themselves a free second dragon.
At this point, it feels like you just have to give, right? Like of those 2 options that you just said, just give, right? It's only the second Drake. It's not the soul that you're really worried about. The big question is, of course, which soul is going to come out, right? It's either just a lot of tankiness or a lot of damage, and those are 2 sides that you really don't want to deal with. That's going to be the Ashe Ultimate stolen away. Top lane, Axum really laying down the pain on Wukong. Again and again, it looks like Wukong just can't deal. Bot side, tower is hit with the Rift Herald, so decent chunk of plating, but not much more.
There we go, arrow!
Yeah, arrow goes in, and they're going to catch at least 1 for here. And again, this is just the kill being made. Javi gets himself his 3rd of the game, and that should allow Mad City to pick up their 2nd Drake.
I want to point out, Shinsao is the tankiest member of that team, and they just dogpile on. Axum should be fine. Actually, it's a flash.
Yeah, that's going to be the Wukong coming out on top. But, of course, Nutty Bars help secure the Drake. Axum's ready. He knows that he should be able to, point and click CC under the tower. So, not going to have the dive happen.
Oh, wow. Okay, he's still sticking around. I think this is being perhaps a little overconfident here. Yes, you've got stun. Yes, you've got healing. But in the middle of a minion wave? Okay, Gore Drinker. Still kind of risky against a Divine Sunderer. They do trade back. And I guess that trade is particularly good because now at least Axum doesn't have to worry about entire wave getting shoved into his turret. Black Armored also has to be careful, and Black Armored needs mana. So that is a winning trade for Axum now.
He's going to be happy on the top side, but remember where most of the damage is for the side of Mad City Wildcard. It is in that mid and jungle, but Nutty Bars, even with 1 kill, is laying it down with the Chocobs. Now we're going to see the top lane. Oh, Black Armored. Black Armored is not very armored here. Tries to go in the clone, has no real mana. Even Emperor says hello.
That's
now we're going to see the top side. That's a double encore. That's huge damage. And the bot side of this AOE squad are going to put it away. They still lose the top power, but, I mean, you get something in return at least.
Yeah, I think that bot lane double kill was absolutely massive for them. They sorely needed it. They were really starting to fall behind. It feels like every facet, every lane, and there wasn't a place for average jungle enjoyer to look for. With the Ashe, at least, sure, you are behind, but you can at least output damage. Your poke is solid, and again, that pick potential. I am still looking at this Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming through from the side of AOE veterans to make something happen to get themselves an objective. We've now seen Emperor May make good use of that ultimate. It's Midnight's champion. Midnight's got to land some good arrows.
Game is moving at a relatively quicker pace now, right? That was the top lane down. That should free up the Renekton to rotate anywhere. And now we see the bottom lanes start to make their way towards mid. Pretty much a standard lane swap. Rift Herald, surprisingly, now up but not tested. I feel Javi might try and go for that here in the next minute or two. If he wants to try and break open the mid lane. You can hear the pings going down. Man, I am a psychic at points. But we'll see if he actually decides to commit for it.
Yeah, and it has to be the side of Mad City to look for this one here. AOE veterans, they've lost their top lane turret. They've lost control of the top side of the map here, and they don't have vision. So you can see that they're aware that it is becoming a point of contest, but they don't have a solid way of actually checking that. They've got to be very judicious with their Hawk use as well, coming through from Ashe, because you only get 2 of those.
Oh, 357 was ready for it and finally has to burn the flash, but that was quite a bit used in the pillar. I love Javi's move there. That's something a lot of people don't normally know about, is the fact that you can actually block, I think, a Thresh leap in if you can disrupt him when he's flying in. So definitely seems like Javi knows how to play the champ.
For sure. Encore now being picked up by Emperor May here. So just that ultimate alone, the same thing. If AoE veterans were ahead, that ult is absolutely key to dissuade teams from engaging into you. But now that Mad City's ahead, they pick it up. You can see AoE veterans can no longer contest that Herald here. They don't have a safe entry point. It is a Mountain Soul map, so all the corridors are just that much tighter here.
With those tight corridors, you're looking at where they want to go. You're trying to see who wants to duel who. And on the top side, you can see the fight of the jungle. That's going to be the pillow zoning out average jungle enjoyer, and I don't think he's going to live. That's a hook doesn't land. Crescent Guard is going to knock Javi away, so Xin Zhao gets to survive with his life while losing his jungle.
Really clutch. And Orbital, despite the fact that we're seeing Mad continue to dominate the map here, these new lane assignments we're seeing where Axum is facing off against Stormblade, Black Armored, is doing kind of Emperor May, is actually working out in their favor. Black Armored is able to get farm. He's able to continue making sure that the lead doesn't grow. It's been at 2,000 for the last little while here. And for AoE veterans, this is step 1 in trying to come back. They still have an amazing team fight. And the moment we start seeing those first mythics start to come through, they're going to be on fairly even ground here. With Dragon coming up in about 30 seconds, I expect to see AoE veteran actually contest for this one. And I want to see the vision set up. If they are there first, we talked about the fact Encore is absolutely massive. Emperor May no longer has it, but Morningstar still does. So that is a huge key tool to look for an engage on their turns, and it just takes one ace, Orbital. One ace, and they're going to be back on parity.
Yeah, but you were talking about the mythics, and I mean, Stormblade, I don't think is going to be matching up against anyone anytime soon. Sitting on 3 different components to 3 different items, you know that has to hurt. Yeah. For a Victor who likes to try and apply that sustained damage, and with it not there, this is going to cause some problems. A little bit of a slow Javi. Not going to be allowed to play, but yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a late TP, but plenty of time now to help Wokanangle Stormblade down to about 50% mana. See how it tests out. Everyone drawing the Battle Lion's ways in a pretty okay position.
Double control board in the pit here. They really want to make sure they get vision. They've started this out, and all the outs are up and available.
They're going to try pillars, zoning everyone out. Again, this is going to be a tight race. You were talking about the ace in one way or another. That's the Ashe Arrow
Okay.
He hijacked and they're going to fire it on. Dominus is used on the back line, but the Encore lands on 3. It's going to let the 1, but look at Axum in the back line, shredding everyone. The Croc is the word, but he's still going down. Dragging up a little bit, and health-wise actually fairly healthy on the side of AOE veterans. Can they make it happen? Jump in, he goes, and after he tried, it fails. Oh, that's a mistake that you don't want to have happen. Black Armor is ready to fight it off, and now they are melting. Triple kill for Stormblade. The one that we were questioning is making a massive play here in the bottom side. He is going to go ahead and recall on top of Ward, but I don't think anyone can do anything. Black Armor really wants to chase down, is going to do away with the health bar and nutty bar with one more whack of the staff. What do you know? 4 for 0. AOE veterans take the fight.
It's not an ace orbital, but they're still back in the game, and AOE veterans proving their veteran status here. Okay, and it looks like we've got a bit of a power outage as well on the side of AOE veterans. So not quite sure who's unfortunately suffering that, but we can talk about that fight, Orbital, because that fight was absolutely key, absolutely massive. Both arrows fired pretty much in quick succession here from both these teams, but the key critical point is Midnight did not go down immediately. Axum dived so hard and could not find it, and the moment that kind of happened, it was the fight was going to be very, very bad already. Renekton got burst down, and after that happens, mAAd City have to disengage. You're low on health. You're facing a team with Seraphine with Moonstone Renewer completed. They will heal back up. They will have better sustain. And then you're trying to fight a 4v5. Emperor May diving in. That felt dicey at best. Okay, sure. If you kill Midnight, so what? You're still at a numbers disadvantage. And that's a one-way trip for Emperor May. Best case scenario is you kill Ashe and you die yourself. It wasn't best case scenario, and you saw what happened.
Yep. Just a rough setup. And it feels like for all of that mAAd City have been able to acquire, it felt like they were very hesitant on the trigger. When I feel they should have been able to pull it, just say, hey, we can go for it. It should have been perfectly fine. So if you were to rewind how that team fight played out, how in your ideal world, right, for mAAd City Wildcard, what would be the ideal team fight for them to play now that we've seen them test it once or twice?
I mean, realistically, that fight started really, really well for them. The Infernum explosion went off almost perfectly there, hit multiple members. Midnight was super, super low. More than mAAd City here, I'm looking at the side of AOE veterans and how they played it. The way they kited back was almost perfect there. And I think if you're mAAd City, you just need to know when to cut your losses. If that engage failed right there, the moment Midnight kind of got away, you just leave that. Axum, if he gets out, great. If he doesn't, he's dead, he's done. That's okay. Just disengage at that point and then be patient about it. If you want to re-engage, at least wait for them to be on Dragon first.
Yeah, and of course, now is good. We're going to go ahead and see the rest of this kind of pass. As again, the Dragon did go over to the side of AOE veterans. They were very, very excited about that setup, and now we get to see where they rotate their main advantage. The gold lead has swung back in their favor, even if it's just about 500. I think that's going to be plenty to give them some workarounds. You can see the Leandri is now finished for Stormblade, so he is going to be outputting a lot more, and his lasers are going to hurt even more so. So Herald dropped in the mid lane. Looks like mAAd City Wildcard are going to try their best to break open this mid, and it should happen.
Yeah, they're looking for a flank as well here from Emperor, because there's not a lot of defense here from AOE veterans. They're kind of just leaving their bot duo to soak this and to sort of disengage. And it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse here, Orbital, from both these teams. You have to be careful not to get flanked. Mid lane right now did open up quite a bit, and the entrances weren't completely warded. The problem is when that turret goes down, you've got the normal river accesses, which is kind of 3 different lanes, and then you get the 2 sort of flanks from your jungle as well. So it becomes very dicey if you don't push as an entire team when you're taking mid lane turrets down.
Yep. So time and place currently, we just hit that 22.5-minute mark. 8 to 10, 2 dragons to 1, 2 towers to 1. Teams are ready to go. Axum going to be questioning what's happening on the top side. A little bit of slowing field, and he sits in it. I don't know if that's what he wanted to do. Dominus is up, but dead. He's still going to go down. An error in that chance in that fight. 2v1, Croc is slayed.
Okay, and this is AOE veterans sparring back a little bit. We already know that they win the team fight just through their composition here, but it's really good that they're able to find picks as well, because why not? It gets you further ahead, and it helps you get a little bit of priority. They can see all these members moving up, but more importantly, Mad City can't see where everybody is, and you've always got to keep in the back of your mind, Enchanted Crystal Arrow is a global ultimate here. So despite the fact that Ashe and Seraphine might be sitting mid, that arrow could just be fired across and suddenly somebody gets stunned, they turn the fight, they burst somebody out. That is a Victor that you're trying to gank here.
And not only that, it's a Victor that randomly got a crap ton of kills. I don't know any other way to put it, but like the Victor was 0-1, 0-2 at one point. Now he's 4-3, and like Emperor is just going, bro, what happened? Like, I was up 2 kills after a while. Why'd you let him get fed? Right? That's every mid laner's worst nightmare. Hey, we had it done. Now he's fed. It's crazy. It's over. Because it is true. Look at the items that Stormblade has kind of picked up. These are much higher priority items than Emperor has been able to pick up, right? You're taking a look in Emperor's pocket. It's the Everfrost plus the Zanya's Hourglass, which is a standard build. It just doesn't have that elongated impact that you would normally want to see. So Stormblade will be that scary Victor, will be that scary mid laner who is going to be lasering everyone. And if you don't kill him early, he will out DPS pretty much anyone on the side of Mad City Wildcard.
And that is on sort of an all-in situation here. It does get kind of dicey, but Emperor Mage can still look to side lane quite effectively against the Wukong, even against the Victor here. You're up a level on Wukong. Wukong's not building magic resist. He's building armor. His passive gives him armor, so he's still very vulnerable to the Sylas. And for Victor as well, yeah, you win the short trades, but Sylas has sustained. Victor doesn't. And the Oblivion Orb will help to cut healing in the actual trades itself, but if you're healing off of the minion wave as a Sylas, then your Oblivion Orb doesn't count for much.
Yep. Doesn't count for too much, as unfortunately we do have a little bit of connectivity issues, so we'll try and make sure the players have a solid game here, and it's always unfortunate that we hear about that, so hopefully the players can get back in the game. But again, 3 towers to 1, so even if the team fights have slowly gone in favor of the side of AOE veterans, the macro game so far has still been on the Otis of the Mad City Wildcard, and so we're seeing them play in that style, and it feels like they kind of recognize that's their strong point.
Yeah, I mean, that is what Mad City have to do, because you don't win the team fights, you've got to play the side lanes. And they do have to be careful about that. We did see Axum getting caught out. You do need proper vision to play around your side lanes here. And a 1-3-1 is a lot riskier than a 1-4 when you don't have 2 solo lanes which can just out dominate or win. They will win, but it's a slow, painful sort of trade rather than, just out and out domination here. So they're playing the right way. My problem with that comes in what happens in 30 seconds when Dragon spawns. What happens, when you see all of AOE veterans just barreling down towards those 3 members. That's a Thresh, a Philios, and most likely a Trundle, who are going to be grouped together as the 3. And into something like the Ashe Arrow, into the Encore, you've got 1 cleanse. If it's not Nutty Bars taking that arrow to the face, which is kind of a counterintuitive thought because Nutty Bars is scary, but if he's not the one stepping up, taking that and insta cleansing, then they can engage on 3. They get 3, they get Baron, they get Dragon, and they can just keep on pushing.
Imagine if that's actually what happens. Nutty Bar goes nutty and literally has to Captain Jacket. Just like face tank every CC, pray it all hits at once and cleanse it right away and run away. Like if he actually pulls that off, okay, I will say this, I will go on record. If Mad City Wildcard make that play happen and just say, cool, Aphelios play frontline, you had the cleanse, you can get away. If they do that and somehow win the team fight afterwards, I will be the most impressed at all times, because that takes a lot of guts, right? ADC, go up, play frontline. Good luck.
I mean, there is an alternative, but it depends on how tanky Javi really is right now. He's got a Divine Sunder, he's got a Bramble Vest and a Giant's Belt as well, so he could actually face tank it, and then you rely on the Dark Passage to get you out. It's just riskier because your opportunity is lower if that Seraphine is close enough. If the full up CC lands, then you're dead. You're literally never going to reach that Dark Passage. We've talked about the fact that everybody on the team has some sort of hard CC coming through from AOE veterans. So that's why it's kind of safer to just face tank it with Nutty Bars. And of course, you've got to watch out for the cooldown from the cleanse as well, right? It's roughly what I believe it's 3.5 minutes or 3 minutes on that cleanse for cooldown. So you get 1 shot every once in a while. And the problem is that Dragon's going to be sitting there. AOE veterans will just keep fishing. The cooldown for the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is roughly about 1 minute. So you shoot 3 arrows to every 1 cleanse.
Yeah, and surprisingly, you're talking about the arrow coming out. Midnight is not opting into that as into the ability haste build. You actually see the Wit's End, which I haven't seen too much of Ash, and I know Wit's End's been seen on the likes of Aurelia in some situations, but to see it on an Ash of all things, when there are so many other attack speed items that synergize a lot better with the Kraken Slayer, I mean, how do you feel about this item?
Honestly, not great on the Ash. I think there are certain 80 carries which can get away with the Wit's End. And you're looking mostly at champions who are going to be applying lots of on hits, lots of autos. Ash sort of falls in the boundary of that because like you are going to be auto attacking a lot, but at the same time, it's not the safest thing. The movement speed, I think, is probably to me what is the biggest deal with this item for a champion like Ash, the ability to kite back faster. And when you combine with that with the slows as well, you can actually outrange a lot of the dashes, a lot of the engages, as long as you're not CC'd immediately. So it's not to me an ideal item for the Ash, but I also don't think it's a terrible pickup. It just relies a lot on how your team wants to work. Now, there is a chance that we see the build where you kind of go Kraken Slayer, Wit's End, and then like a Rage Blade to come through. And then basically you're just going on sort of doubling all the on-hit effects that you can possibly get for maximal damage. It's one of those where you got to wait for like that 3-4 item power spike. So it's a little slower, but with the pace of the game right now, there's a pretty good chance we get that far. We're 25 minutes in, and for the side of AOE veterans, they've only taken one turret. So they're just trying to stall. And for the side of Mad City, they've taken all the outer turrets, but they've not been able to really push very much after that. And they probably can't for the next 10 minutes against this big team fight comp.
Yeah, they just don't have that siege potential, right? The only one that can really get close is that Aphelios, which we just said it is not the most conducive to any sort of siege crisis. So it's really them just kind of moving around, praying that they can find a pick and then rotate in later. And also looking at Axum, right? The one that just got killed or has been killed a few times by Stormblade and Average Jungle Enjoyer. That's a champion that you're usually praying that can side lane split push, that can at least play on his own. And so far, it hasn't come to fruition. He is 229 CS, 229 CS versus 160, has a completed Gore Drinker as well as a completed Steric's Gauge. And yet, he is not able to find these opportunities for himself, not able to be able to push as effectively. Yes, he just took to the bot lane tower, but that was like the first one I think he took on his own, right? Like it's just been so slow pace. And so where do you look for these extra towers? Where would your ideal setup be outside of just praying for a pick for the side of Mad City Wildcard?
I don't think Axum did that bad a job. I mean, yeah, you kind of got ganked, but that was a 2v1 situation. And I'd argue that's more.
I mean, he walked
vision.
back into the stasis field. That's
yeah, he also did. I mean, was he going to get away? Probably not. You probably would have forced a couple of summoners in order to kill him. But that to me comes down to vision. And that's the problem. Like I was saying, the 1-3-1 is risky. You need to set up vision right if you are going to try and attempt to do that here. So I think Mad City is not doing the wrong thing here. It's just that they need to have better setup to allow for that to happen. They now have double teleport available as well. So the next time this happens, you can theoretically sort of TP in to back up your side laner who is going to sort of have that problem here. I'm more watching Nutty Bars right now because I think Mad City, they're waiting to scale up. But because he did go the Immortal Shield Bow into the Runan's Hurricane as an Aphelios, that 2-item power spike, we're not feeling it as much. If that was Kraken Slayer, they win that fight. But he's trying to survive the initial engage. And that does mean that right now he's not feeling as strong. And then you've got Emperor May, who you mentioned, built Zonias, which is not wrong for a Silas. I mean, it is what you are supposed to do for better skirmishing, for better survivability after you engage. But you're also not at your biggest power spike yet. You're waiting for your next big item. And then that Silas is really going to take off. So I think Mad City, they're just waiting. One more big mythic is when we're going to start seeing their composition really come online. And it just comes down to kiting at that point. Can you kite properly? Can you survive the initial engage? Who's going to tank the initial engage? And how are you going to protect them, get them out? You've got Dark Passage. That's a shield. You've got Locket of the Iron Solari. That's another shield. You can use Emperor May to tank it, and then Zonias. That is also another potential ability. So it really then becomes a lot about the mechanics of Mad City, and they start getting a bit more of the agency here. It will depend a lot on their performance more than AOE's composition. Just press R, look for engage.
I'm still loving the idea of both ADCs being the meat shields. I don't care what anyone says. I want to see.
No,
like,
not Ash.
It's just running through my head. come on, Ash also has the cleanse. You
Yeah,
know
but-
it's probably gonna happen at some point. Like that would be so funny to see. However, of course, we are still waiting on a player to get back in the game, and so we are unfortunately gonna go back to another break. We are very sorry, and we appreciate your patience here. So please do not go anywhere. We will be back hopefully in a short few once all players are ready to go on the Rift. we are back again. Thank you so much for waiting with us. I understand it's been a very, very long day so far, but we are back in the game. Of course, the players are set, and we already are in at about 25.5 minutes. Cleanse is going to come out on Nutty Bars. Now we're going to see if I can freaking out Axe him straight back into the action. That's going to be the Moonlight Vigil going off, but can they make it happen? Encore lands on 3. Is going to solo them all out, but Emperor May in the backline is going to try and break it out. That's the mirror to Encore, but he can't get much more than that. That's going to be a trade of 1-for-1. 357 is going to go very, very low. Can't get tagged by the last volley. Now the hook is going to go out. A little bit of sun onto the Wukong, but the damage has already been done. And as soon as we get back into the action, AOE veterans start to pop off for Dragon.
Yeah, they pull the trigger, and this is what they need to do. They have a lead in every single lane except against Axum here. So they kind of need to, any opportunity you get when they're in the long lane, just punish immediately. It looks kind of dicey, but remember, they've got the sustain. They just have to make sure they don't get flanked.
They got the Dragon, and at this point, there is zero reason for mAAd City Wildcard to even stay. So, of course, they rightly back off, and that is going to be their Drake. Now at 2 in the bucket, they're looking at about 12%. Extra armor and magic resist really going to help out the Wukong and that Xin Zhao.
Now, we have to remember that with the AoE veteran composition, they are relying a lot on their upfront damage, on the burst damage that they have in their kit. And that's always been the issue with these sort of AoE wombo combo compositions, is that as the game goes on, you become less effective here. And because the early Drakes were taken by mAAd City, Dragon stacking isn't the most effective strategy for them. If they wait for that Elder, if they wait for that Soul, by then, mAAd is going to start hitting the point where they can tank your damage going. We already saw Axum survive, and that's a huge point right now. If Axum is the one tanking with that dominance next time, they could potentially win that fight.
Baron is started up, 357, getting a good little flay on the Morningstar, but again, there's not much more they can do. The Renekton is a little bit too far away. They're going to look for a teleport. Okay. Chances there. Emperor May coming around the side. It's down to about 4K. What more can they do? That's going to be a hook landing onto the Ash. That's going to be the cleanse used, and Axum is going to be taking a little bit of damage.
It's tanky.
But the Moonlight Vigil is going to burst out, and that might be the call. They're going to go in. That's going to be the grab, and they found the kills. Can they get a little bit more? Axum is so tanky. He's all the way in the back line. Got 2. Trundle's going to pick up 1. Now the arrows are firing off fast spears, but Midnight can't do much more than that. It's going to flash over the wall, and they lose 4. mAAd City Wildcard show up huge and take the team fight.
That was clutch, Orbital. That was a super clutch for mAAd there, because if they lose the Baron, things continue to accelerate, things get away. But they win that fight, and they get Baron, and Axum's at a pretty good point right now where we did see him tank a lot of damage. The only thing they need to be really worried about right now for this tank is Midnight. And you can see that Emperor's job is just to get into that back line as fast as you can. If you trade Sylas for Ashe, that's a win every time.
They had the chance, and they took it. Ridiculous play right there. And of course, we didn't even get to see it. I didn't get to point it out. The Gargoyle Stone Plate, that doubled on top of Sterak's Gauge is ridiculous. But that is going to be the Baron for them. And now 2 Dragons to 2, but the Baron power play is possible. And with this, they now have a siege composition, right? They now have the ability to siege down a couple towers, break open the base a little bit more, and kind of break that stall that that AoE were able to perform so far.
They kind of have a siege comp, not really. They've got an Aphelios, they've got Calibrim as well, so they technically have the range to try this, but realistically, they're still looking at the split push with their composition right here. Arrow. Okay, it's so far out, it doesn't even matter, the arrow.
Yeah. Everyone held their breath, and then no one really cared after that. It just went, whee! But the reason I say that is the siege is now you can see the 1-3-1 coming out, right? Not exactly a siege, but the ability to siege down a couple towers is going to do wonders for the composition. We were wondering how they were going to break it open, how they were going to make it work. And this is how you do it, right? You 1-3-1, now that mid lane falls, and it is cracking over the base. The question is, what more can they get, right? They have to be able to reach those inhibitor towers. They need an inhibitor tower to go down, or just clear out the rest of these outers. So that's going to be all 3 falling pretty much in unison last 30 seconds or so. So that's going to be a lot of gold influx, boosting their gold lead all the way up to 6.3k.
A little bit surprised they're not continuing the push right now, but perhaps they need to get wards, need to reset the vision line, because their wards right now extend to the inner turrets. If they push beyond that, they can potentially get flanked. And despite the fact that mAAd City have the Baron buff, it's kind of funny because it's actually on AOE veterans to make the move now that the Baron buff is on the other side. They're the ones who have to try and look for that team fight. If they let the 1-3-1 split push continue, then they fall apart. They don't have enough damage separately. They do need to be together to layer the CC as well. Dragon coming up though, and Mad City, I'm surprised they didn't continue the push, like I said. I'm surprised they're not resetting up for it. It looks like they're grouping up for this Dragon that's not coming for another 30 seconds, and by the time it comes up, Baron buff is going to expire.
Yep, just a few seconds left, but of course the Dragon is a little bit more important. They've lost the last two, and so I can kind of see why they're more focused on this. And again, AOE veterans. Questions galore, right? So many towers are low. It's almost freestanding gold at this point, but they have been forced to sit on their back foot, sit and wait, and that's going to be the hook. Can they get a little bit more? Average jungler is going to be able to stay on this side of the river. That play sometimes can be very, very tricky. Almost everyone that's played League has experienced one time or another where they're like, come on, you didn't pull me over the wall, did you? Now, the battle lines have been drawn, but look at Emperor May possibly sneaking around the side.
They have plenty of wards though, so it's going to be difficult for Emperor to get in there without getting spotted. But the poke is sufficient right now. Those volleys coming out here, and the poke from Morningstar as well, the lasers, just everything piling in. They're getting flanked though. Gravity heal down. That's a huge disengage tool.
Yeah. And it almost looks like they might just try and turn on Emperor May. That is a question, right? He is the weaker side of the pinch. So can they do it? Yeah, they're going to go in.
Okay.
Encore's going to be thrown out. Can they find anyone? No. Goes into the stasis a little bit too early. Encore flies across the other board. And that floor gets it all the way across. AOE veterans are going to try their best, but that's a 1-for-1. But look at the health bars. They're so low once again. AOE veterans are looking to go double root. Can they get much more? Yes, they will. Zins out with the tech. Picks up a triple kill. That is going to be AOE veterans securing their third dragon and making sure gold goes back in their pockets.
Average jungle enjoyer might have been the one to get the triple, but the entire fight revolved around that one encore from Morningstar there. The fact that they managed to catch 4 members, and we have to remember how that flank happened. They came in from 3 different directions there. Normally that means that your AoE has to get split. You can only pick one side to fight against, but Morningstar just that one step back, catching Emperor May, then kind of traveling on and hitting everybody else. That was huge. The damage couldn't come out. They took the time. They focused one after another. And sure, only Emperor May went down initially, but everybody else was so low by the end of it that they managed to poke them down. They managed to win that. And AoE veterans, they continue living life on the edge here. They are at soul point, but they're starting to lose out. And Mountain Drake helps you live longer. That's not their problem. They need to kill faster, and there's nothing on the map that's going to really help them with that till Elder Dragon comes up, and that's at least 10 minutes away.
There's also 0 shred that we're seeing on the side of Wildcard, or not Wildcard, Mad City Wildcard, right? You don't see the last whisper coming out, which at this point is a necessity, right? You're looking at the dragon stacking up. You're looking at the items being built up. A single GA on Ashe would completely negate anything that Nutty Bars is throwing out, right? Because that is what? That is 18% extra armor and magic resist. You are not going to kill that, right? So you are praying that that someone is going to get a little bit of shred, needs that ability to do so. Maybe it's going to be Emperor May, who has another needlessly large rod. The options are there. Question marks abound so far. It's been back and forth. Both teams have won a significant team fight. Just AoE veterans a little bit more so.
And I think for Mad City at this point, before Midnight even starts thinking about building a GA, you need to start focusing this Ashe. Midnight is surviving these fights, has the least deaths on the team alongside Morningstar that support that bot lane duo together. And if you don't kill Midnight, Midnight's build will shred through all of you. Oh, the Midnighters meet?
Yeah, this is going to be the 1v1 status, and Emperor May is going to trade his life. So we see the battle of the 2 mid laners results in a tie.
Yeah, that gravity field, I mean, doing work after he was dead. It is very important that Victor is dead, though, because the team fight utility that Victor brings is absolutely massive. It's answered by the fact, though, now that they don't have a good assassin to take Midnight down. So I think both teams will be leery about looking for the engage. I feel like Mad City more so. You've got to look for that flank here. You've got to find Midnight. And if Emperor May is down, then I don't know if Axum's going to be sufficient on his own.
It's getting a little bit dangerous. Baron is started up once again, and 10,000 HP less, so still plenty of time. Wukong looking for the teleport. They do call it in. The cavalry has arrived. Nutty Bars is right in the middle. Black Armor is going to try his best. Average Jungler is going to go right in the back line. Can they follow through? Encore is going to land on 3 again. This is the wombo combo that they want and need. Nutty Bars is down, I repeat. ADC down, and this time it is much more convincing. AOE veterans are going to survive with everyone up. Midnight surviving on a sliver, but that's plenty enough. It is a 4-0 for the AOE veterans. They go ahead and win the fight. They're going to look for that Baron, and they're going to look to finally get more than just a single tower in this game.
And this now should be enough for AOE to finally push. Despite the fact they've been winning team fight after team fight, they've only taken 1 turret, Orbital. Just the one in the bot lane. They needed this Baron to start pushing. And that fight was, again, so dangerous for them. They keep barely surviving. Midnight had to solo kite Axum around. And that's not what I thought would have happened with the Ashe. We talked about the fact you need to keep Midnight alive. Nobody backed him up. Midnight just had to solo, just run around, burn flash, and barely, just barely. If the team had not finished off the rest of the fight when they did, that would have been Midnight dead.
It's like one of those points in solo queue where everyone else is fighting and you hear the ADC like yelling in the background like crazy, like ah! Siren effect right there, and finally brings them around. So still stays alive, 4 members alive, all 5 members do have Baron, which means if they win a second fight, right? We talked about it. AOE veterans literally have every single ability to win a team fight, and it's happened over and over again. It's like clockwork. It's a systematic deletion of the enemy. Every time they go in, average jungler holds them off, and then the Encore flies by. If Mad City Wildcard cannot figure out a way to split those ultimates up, they will never win another fight, and it's going to be their last chance right here.
TP from Axum here. They've got the flank position, and he will get spotted coming in.
Yep. Right on top of a Warren. That is a crystallized arrow being grabbed, but Stormblade does have the Banshee's Veil, so gonna see who they go for. Ash Arrow goes out. That's the mirrored one, but they can't follow through. Javi, what are you doing, Javi? Javi just didn't want to live anymore, and that's gonna mean that now Nutty Bar is gonna soon to follow, and just a huge tactical error coming out right there. They're gonna follow through the fight. Encore again, just clearing out any chance that they had. And AOE veterans sweep the fight. They lose Ashe, but they gain so much more. GA is going to be popped. The red Nectin is not going to live for much longer, and that is the ace for AOE veterans.
Just push. If you're AOE veterans here, you just push. The Dragon's not that important. You still have Baron buck for 50 seconds right now, and you need desperately to crack those inhibitors, because this is the only way they're taking turrets, is that they win a team fight first. Their siege is not as good. And this was a gift-wrapped push coming through from Mad City here. We had a question about why Javi stepped up, and you cannot expect him to do it again.
Maybe it's the stress, maybe it's the mental kind of going boom. We're not sure, right? There's been a lot of technical, hiccups here on this game specifically. Power going out every so often. We understand pauses can be rough. It is understandable and is almost to be expected at some of these points. But in the face of that sort of adversity, you have to keep that mental up. You have to keep that mind focused and sharp for what's happening if you want to be able to win a series like this. So a lot of question marks. We did see a shining light though. Axum is staying alive much longer than is expected in a lot of these team fights, right? Usually he's the first one in, and somehow he's the last one still out. So if the side of Mad City Wildcard are able to utilize this, there are quite a few opportunities for them to maybe, that sliver of light at the end of the tunnel, maybe it leads to victory.
Perhaps, but that was GA and Stoneplate. And lots of Gore Drinker uses their Orbital. And now Lord Dominic's is in Midnight's hands here. So if they don't kill Midnight immediately, well, I don't think Axum's actually going to live quite as long in the last fight. Speaking of Lord Dominic's, though, Nutty Bar's also picking that up. The stakes are rising here. And I feel, Orbital, that the next big team fight, if one team can decisively find a win, it's just going to be game over at that point.
You section onto that, the fact that Stormblade is full build right now, completely full build, went with the Void Staff, plus a Magi Soul Stealer, so he is ridiculously strong. That's gonna be the arrow going out, landed on the Cholo. That's what
Verme?
one they want, but can they get a little bit more? Black Armor is
Oh,
gonna
the
teleport in. What more can they find? They're a little bit split. Now it's gonna be backline Stormblade. What are you doing, my man? He is gonna sacrifice himself for the team, but he's doing it. He is doing it. The Chaos Storm reigns supreme. Again, Axum is the last one alive. Encore thrown out just for support, and Axum is gonna go down. That is the ace. AOE veterans find the victory just shy of 41 minutes.
Oh my goodness, Orbital. 41 minutes in game, but this game took closer to an hour here with all the pauses, with all the delays, and finally AOE veterans, they just kind of brute force their way into the win here. They just keep throwing AOE out after AOE out, and we talked about the fact that Mad City, it becomes their sort of agency. It becomes incumbent on them to find a way to play around that engage, and sad to say they were unable to do so here in this game.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they're able to do it in next game. You know, the possibility of them having a resurgence, you know, maybe finding that second game, maybe change up the composition a little bit or how they want to play, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, we will go to a very short commercial break. We'll be right back with game number 2 between AOE Veterans and Mad City Wildcard. And we are back. Thank you so much for waiting. We are here with game number 2, already into the pick and ban phase, as AOE veterans are still on the blue side. mAAd City have opted to stay on the red. And of course, we do see the Ziggs, the Lily, and the Nocturne, same bans as before for AOE veterans. On the flip side, now we get to see if they want to change things up. Before, the question was, hey, what are they going to ban out? They did not ban the Zins out. This time around, they do. And I think that is a very proper response to what happened in game 1.
Yeah, I will say I don't think it's as if the Xin Zhao kind of took over the game, but I do think that you kind of just want to take away Xin Zhao as a general power pick. We didn't see the Trundle really able to take over the game. There were some definitely really solid plays from Hobby there, but I just would prefer to see a jungler who has, a bit more utility for the team there, whether it be, something like the Gragas, which can disengage, or what else is meta right now? Even Rumble damage would also happen pretty solid to try and at least team fight, because it just felt like mAAd City Wildcards wasn't allowed to team fight.
Just weren't able to find those picks, weren't able to find those options, and again, it felt like their composition was more geared towards those picks. We saw in some of the skirmishes that it did work out, right? Finding a pick onto Stormblade at certain points, finding some of those early game kills, just weren't able to finish it off. So of course we are getting into that. The picks here after the bans have gone through: Lee Sin versus Diana in that jungle side. So there's your engage RMC, right? The Diana being locked in, having that Moonfall can provide a lot of engage potential.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Sin can literally go to every and any lane right now. I've seen Senna Lee Sin in the bot lane as a potential viable combo. So we don't know where the Lee Sin's going, but Diana, I really do like that pickup right here. It scales so well. It has more agency. You can team fight with it. If teams want to team fight you, they have to be careful with that Moonfall. And then you pair it with the Kai'Sa. mAAd City Wildcards have had enough here. Their Aphelios Thresh sort of front to back team composition definitely didn't work. They're going all in right away, and I'm just expecting to see more and more dive champions being pulled in. I think the Silas definitely can work as well. We've not seen support bans, so things like the Nautilus, like the Leona, can also come in as well.
What is up with Draven now? We're seeing Draven every other turn. So Draven is locked in to fight off the Kai'Sa here.
Oh, it's not a Draven. I'm actually sad, because I would have liked a Draven here. Draven is a good counter to Kai'Sa. It's a Tristana.
Wow, we went from like really hype, really enjoyable, or hated to just like, it's a Tristana.
I like my Dravens, Look at that face. Who could resist Draven?
Just about everyone in champion, like any champion in League of Legends. No one likes Draven except probably his brother. So
Darius and Draven don't get along.
So we see the Thresh come out here. We saw the Thresh on mAAd City Wildcard side not be super effective. I think you pointed it out very, very nicely before, and about with as much respect as we could say. It was 1 kill for the ADC, the Aphelios, and 13 deaths combined in the bottom side. Not a great scoreline. So we'll see if the Thresh can do a little bit better. Kai'Sa, Nautilus, and old school bottom lane locked in for mAAd City Wildcards.
Yeah, and to be fair to Nutty Bars and 35701, yeah, they went 1-13 as a combined bot lane, but at the same time, it's how your comp is operating, right? The fact that there's so much engaged on the other side. They didn't get to shoot anything, basically. They were running for their lives half the time there. Whereas this time, with the Lee Sin, with the Tristana, you have plenty of disengage here. So I do expect to see whoever the AD carry for AOE veterans is, because they do swap up their positions quite a bit. Whoever's piloting that Tristana should have a much better time of it. The Thresh, I don't know if that's necessarily what you want to pair with the Tristana. Maybe it's a Tristana mid, and they look for a different AD carry bot. But by picking the Thresh like this, if it is a Tristana bot lane, you open yourself to that counter pick, and that Nautilus here, any hook champion is really a good pick into that Thresh, and you did give that up for free.
Yeah, well, we are getting into the second round again. mAAd City Wildcards have opted. I believe there was some consensus that they would lose their 2 bans on the back end. And that is going to be the Gnar still banned away. So really not wanting to allow that team fight potential. In the top side, last time it was the Renekton versus the Wukong. Did win out a little bit earlier, so Axem still has that power point. We'll see what he decides to pick up here. Maybe they save that counter pick once again. But if you're AOE veterans, I mean, last time, I believe the ban was the LeBlanc final, and I had some questions about that. For you, what would you like to see banned here?
I think the LeBlanc is a fine ban here, but I think you might want to remove something that's going to engage very, very heavily. I'm just trying to see what people play. I mean, Camille for Axum could be something you look to take out, because right now Mad City wildcards have kind of tipped their hand. They're going to be diving in irregardless here. So you kind of just want to take away ban things that dive. I don't see Rumble, or else I'd say Rumble would be a good ban to take out, with that Diana. Yasuo might be an option as well, again, to take out. It synergizes so well with that Moonfall once again, but no, they're just going as the standard LeBlanc ban. It's really strong in the current meta, and while it's not exactly what you think of when you say dive, it certainly can go in there, and it does a lot of damage in a very short amount of time.
Well, it looks like Mad City Wildcards went ahead and said, "Hey, look, the Wukong did well for you guys last time. You took our Thresh. We'll take the Wukong. We'll go ahead and mess around with that." And AOE veterans are going, really? You really want to try that out here? I mean, that does put 3 different lanes of engage for Mad City Wildcards, but AOE veterans will have a lot of chances to kind of counter this composition.
Yeah, and now for AOE veterans, you've got to pick some magic damage here. And Victor is on the table. Victor does perfectly fine as a tool to potentially disengage here. But it's, I feel like, a little suboptimal. And the problem with the gravity field is it does take time, and the sheer amount of burst right now could absolutely pop you. AOE veterans do miss a ban. They do confirm that it is a Jax pickup, which is good for dealing with that engage. You counter strike right away. The problem is a lot of those abilities will ignore the counter strike. It's just more for the stun. And I believe they are saying that Syndra is their sort of blind pick mid lane at this point here, who, again, with the Scatter of the Weak, is a very solid option to try and dissuade all this engage coming through.
Well, that's one way to deal with the Syndra as well. The Akali blind picks are throwing a bit more love towards that mid lane. That will be going over to Emperor May. And I mean, that mid lane with the Sylas was actually going pretty good, right? We saw the force out in the early stages. It looked very good. And this time, in my personal opinion, playing the mid lane, I hate Akali. I will say it. I will say it over and over again. I hate Akali. I hate playing against the champion. I hate playing the champion because I feel dirty playing it. So, seeing it come out here, I have a good feeling that Emperor is probably going to enjoy this lane a little bit more than the Sylas versus the Victor.
Yeah, and I think just Akali fits the comp better right now. You don't have a big engage ultimate or a big dive ultimate to pick up here from the side of AOE veterans. You've got the Akali doesn't need to pick anything up. You can just kind of go in right away on your own. The execute damage as well. So you let the rest of the team go in. You go in late. You go in with that Kai'Sa after the initial burst damage is down, and that should be guaranteed kills left and right. If you find and if we look at what AOE veterans have drafted here, so it's Lee Sin, Tristana, Thresh, Syndra, Jax. None of them are tanky. Lee Sin is pseudo kind of tanky, maybe. It takes a couple items. You've got your shield. Thresh, kind of, but again, your support, you don't have the income. Tristana, Jax, and Syndra, though, the moment the Moonfall lands, the moment the Cyclone lands, you should be low enough for that Akali to just straight up execute.
Yep. So questions abound on how these champions will play out. A little bit of, the salty picks coming out at least. So we'll see if they play into this game or not. Of course, we will go to a very short break, make sure the players are set to go. And make sure hopefully no one's power goes out anymore. Unfortunate series of events there. So we'll make sure that works for you. So go ahead, go get some popcorn, go get some very nice drinks to settle down in, and we will see you all in a few for the game number 2 between AOE veterans and Mad City Wildcard. are back into the game here. Game number 2 with AOE Veterans up 1-0. And of course, we already saw a little bit of a mishap. Javi on that Diana had to burn flash due to an early invade. So already Midnight getting some good utility out of this Thresh.
Yeah, I mean, it's matched by the fact that Midnight had to flash, so this bot lane won't have that. And look at that aggressive ward coming through from mAAd City as well. They might look to actually try and find some cheese here, and you really can actually do this if, you know, they take the wrong pathing there. You wait till Jizu, who is the substitute coming in after all the pauses we had last game. They did switch that up, and Midnight, you know, if they take the wrong way back and average jungle enjoyer left all alone between a red buff and 2 people, that's an easy first blood.
Yeah. I mean, why not, right? I love this setup. This is rude. It's the exhaust. Oh my gosh. All I can feel is pain, right? This is the one bot lane that you're just like, it's going to tilt you 100%. It is going to hard tilt you, and it's going to happen again. He has no flash. Midnight has no flash. He is probably going to die. Flash him by nutty bars because he is nutty beyond belief. Now average jungle enjoyer is going to try and rotate in, but can't follow. That should have been followed up, I think. I think 357 could have easily gone down, but not going to happen. That is going to be AOE Veterans dropping a kill there. And Midnight kind of regretting flashing after that Diana.
So here's the problem. It's not that average jungle enjoyer didn't want to go in. He didn't have the skill to go in. You don't always start with the Q in the jungle as Lee Sin. He started W with that Safeguard and Tempest. He did not actually have a way to get in there, Orbital. So you just had to watch as, you know, your bot lane died. No answer coming back through. And your Lee Sin had to slow down a little bit as well. So really everything going mAAd City's way here.
Listen, he had flash. He could have gone in. Listen, everyone knows you got flash, you can go in, help your teammate out. It's totally the jungler's job to sacrifice for a support, right? I think that's how League of Legends works. I don't know. We are looking in the mid lane here. Emperor May going ahead, throwing down a little bit of damage. As Stormblade, this is pretty much how it goes. I want to say standard for that lane matchup. It's usually level 4 and 5 if you let the trades go a little bit too rough. And Black Armored, not enjoying the beating by the Wukong staff. He has a lamppost of his own. Obviously, Wukong staff is a little bit stronger.
Yeah, and you didn't pick the Jax necessarily to win this particular lane, especially not early with how mobile Wukong is. Unless the Wukong is the one aggressing on you, it's easy to dodge out that counter strike here. So it's a patience game. You're picking it for the later scaling. That's fine. The mid lane, however, I do want to start seeing some early ganks from average jungle enjoyer into the mid lane here, because Syndra into Akali is a bit of a matchup of sustain. Is the Syndra have enough mana, or does Akali have enough health? And Akali does have some healing in her kit, so you really do need to punish and snowball the speed of this lane.
It's not as much healing as we would expect, though, because it is a conquer build, not the fleet footwork. However, we do see a stun go out, flash away from the Sonic Wave, and that's going to be the save play. Emperor May receiving a gank in mid lane, pushing up. Javi wants it. That's going to be the jump in and a nice little rotate, and they're just bullying Midnight. Midnight turned to dust, and Javi picks up a kill.
That was so easy and clean there from mAAd City. The moment the hook missed, that Thresh knew he was done. And we talked about the fact that Thresh does get countered by hook champions is precisely why. You're immobile when you throw out that death sentence. And even if you see the enemy hook coming, even if you see the enemy gank, you just kind of have to sit there and take it. Average jungle enjoyer looking for Axum here. There is a wave that should be pushing out. Oh, he showed early.
Yep. Just go ahead, clear out the wave. No reason try and force it when you're ready. Don't land the stun, right? Stormblade going ahead and going to be eating a chunk of damage here. That's going to be a trade that I think that they're okay with.
And we have to keep in mind that Emperor May burnt the teleport to get back into lane. So while it looks like, oh, Emperor May's in a great spot, not really. Stormblade still has that TP, you know, so once you burn all the mana, you just go back, buy your items, come back, and then it's kind of a reset once again, and it becomes who has more mana versus who has more health.
Axum, this is so mean to do. Black Armored is just like, come on, man. All I want to do is get back to base. All I want to do, pick up my items. And Wukong is just like, no, I'm playing the tricks. I'm playing my job, right? Bottom lane, we still see a little bit of farming action. And the teleport use from Stormblade with a Mountain Dragon as the first Drake of the game. Again, one of the ones that we probably won't see too much action until maybe minute 8 or 9, I would say. So not going to be too much action around there.
Yeah, it'll be more sort of just opportunistic, you know, hey, there's no vision, maybe we can try this, or hey, we get a kill in the bot lane and we can make something happen. And judging by how the game's been going, if there are kills to be had in the bot lane, it's mostly on the side of mAAd City here. Javi playing aggressively, actually stealing away Raptors as well right now, covering, shading for Emperor May.
Yeah, and actually Emperor May helped out first, right? You see that pink ward, I think, over there on one of the river brushes, plus a deep ward into the red buff brush. So warding up for his jungler, as a good mid laner should, is making it a pretty easy time, right? Pings go down as well, so they know that the risk scuttle is being taken. An average jungler enjoyer is going to be on the back foot, already down, I want to say, about 3.5 camps here.
Yeah, and the reason why they know Javi's there isn't because of vision. It's because of the fact that the Raptor camp is gone. So average jungle enjoyer is like, oh, they just came in here. Bot lane needs to play a little bit safer. I'm actually a little bit surprised they didn't even try and check for the dragon there. I mean, Thresh can always do that with a quick dark passage, and Jizu was already being shoved in anyhow, so you didn't have to worry about the risk. As it is, mAAd didn't go for it, so they do manage to luck out a little bit there. And are they looking for this top side against Stormblade rotating up?
I mean, bot lane's been punished so much, might as well take over the top, and I think this is the right retaliatory style of play, right? When you know the jungler has been focusing on the bot side, you need to get something else back. So average jungler going ahead, stealing away that buff. Dragon, though, might be the take. If Javi picks this up for free, which it definitely looks like no one's there in the vicinity, this is going to be mAAd City Wildcard's win.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, it is a Mountain Drake, so take it for what you will. It's nice to have. It's nice to just get off the table, but it's not going to necessarily help you in the immediate fight. 3-5-7-1, just barely missing Stormblade there. And Stormblade did pick up an early tier as well, so you can see that the mana issues aren't plaguing the Syndra as much. You pick the Syndra, or you don't pick the Syndra to deal with the Akali necessarily, but the matchup isn't terrible for the Syndra. If you get enough orbs down, if you get enough poke down, press R, and even if Akali goes into Shroud, she's still dead.
You don't want to die here, but Midnight is going to go ahead and roam up to mid. Nice dodge back,
collapse.
but 3-man collapse here. That's going to be a flay back. Oh, the Sonic Wave does miss, but they're going to get the kick. And that's going to be Emperor May getting killed off. Stormblade picks up that kill.
the fact that he sent 3 people there and Emperor May, there was a bit of a wait. Are they actually going to get out the Sliver of Hell? That's not ideal. And Lee Sin is a good counter. Tempest does reveal the Akali. So theoretically, this is why I called for early ganks into the mid lane here. Just punish the Akali with that Lee Sin Syndra. You do have a lot of tools to kill her early. If you wait till the later game, she starts getting enough sustain, enough tankiness to be able to survive that burst, and then you have problems because she'll just turn right back around and kill the Syndra.
With the mid lane powering in favor of Stormblade, I want to kind of take a look at the early game. Well, nope, never mind. All right, I tried, okay? Don't fault me for trying. That's going to be a flash. Dark passage to safety. And that almost was a big play. Midnight has been aggressed on over and over again, so almost making that flashy play. Not going to happen, though. Still, getting out with their lives is going to be the main detail.
The problem, though, is how did that position even start? How did Midnight get caught so far out of position? The flash is down, so it can happen again.
Yeah, they're just going to go, and now the Lee Sin's here, ready to go. Kick misses, though, and Midnight is going to get drawn in. Move fall, drops some huge damage down. Jump back, and the killer instinct is going to be used. Can Nutty Bar finish it off? No, they cannot. Couple more auto attacks. Emperor May ready to finish off level 8, though. Oh, this is really so dangerous right now. Oh! All right, we were waiting for it. We both held our breath. We were like, is the kill going to come through? Quite possibly. It's not going to happen, though. They're just going to take a crap ton of plates down on the, or a couple. Very sorry. A little bit too much there. 2 plates, a little bit extra damage. Still, so much gold getting in their inventory. mAAd City Wildcard. Feeling very happy about the start of this game.
Yeah, and you know what? Overall, it is maybe a crap ton of plates. How heavy is a plate and how heavy is a crap ton anyways? We do see the roam up from Midnight, though, trying to shade for Black Armored, but Black Armored is going back to base. He's not even sticking around. So if anything, you're just here to hold a wave, and I'm scared for Jizu now because you know the support's top. We already made a play in the bot lane. You can look again. Great decoy from Maxim.
Yep. It's a Wukong. You expect them to be able to do that. If they don't, then you call them a bad monkey. That's all it is. So Emperor May going into the Shroud once again. And I'm liking the roam though. Midnight was picked on the bottom side, so saying, hey, we don't have many options. We're gonna lose the 2v2 and most likely the 3v2, right? So go ahead, roam around, try and get some elevated status, and I think this is a great way to do it. Flash out, forcing Emperor to flash almost off a cooldown, I think is going to work in the favor of AOE veterans.
Yeah, really good punish there. And again, I'm just looking at this bot lane. I would have actually preferred to see Nutty Bars freeze that wave because it was pushing out. And then you punish Jizu here. When your support's roaming that far away, if you can freeze the lane, the ADC doesn't get to step up. And now they're looking for Midnight. Did they see? They didn't see 35701, did they?
I don't think.
Oh, they didn't.
Did. Yeah, this is going to be dangerous. And a jump right in. I think they're going to be happy about the setup, but they realize there's a little bit more damage. And honestly, that hook and Scatter the Weak meant the world to keeping AOE veterans alive.
Yeah, that was real clutch there. I mean, in the first place, Emperor Bay really shouldn't be walking anywhere near that wall. You had full vision of them. 35701 and Nutty Bars gave you that. It does work out in their favor, though, and they're going to be okay with this. We should probably take stock because we are starting to approach the point of the mid game here where we're likely to start seeing a lot more roams, a lot more team fights. Dragon's coming up in about 30 seconds right now. We've got about a 2,500 gold for the side of Mad City, and a lot of that gold difference currently sitting in the jungle on Javi, on this Diana with a huge team fighting ultimate Moonfall here. Orbital, I'm expecting to see blood at this dragon, and I'm expecting to see Mad be the ones to come away with the win here.
I mean, if it doesn't happen, then I feel like they, misstep again. And we have to say, in game one, it did feel like a few missteps was what really caused their downfall. It wasn't a team competition. They were playing it well, played it pretty strong in the early stages. Just a few missteps here and there allowed AOE veterans to take back over the game. So I want to see them, just like you said, clean it up very nicely, be able to come out with that clean dragon victory. If they're able to do so, that's going to be really good. A little bit of a blast cone question mark, but they hold off.
Oh, here?
Just enough time. Teleport use. This is going to be the play. They're going to bring 5 in. They get the hook, though, and that's big damage onto Emperor. Can they follow up with a little bit more? They're going to trade 1-for-1. Teleport late coming in from the top lane. Black Armored is going to come back onto Javi, but they can't finish it off. Again, double stun there, but the deaths in mid are enough. Nutty Bars coming away with the 402 KDA score. And that is Mad City Wildcard. You called it, RMC. You are the prophet this time around. They go ahead and make out like bandits with a 4-1 kill score.
I'd like to say that's a perfect prediction, Orbital, but it wasn't the Moonfall. The Moonfall literally didn't matter. Black Armor late TP managed to hold Javi off, and it was just a Cyclone. And that, to me, is terrifying. They didn't even layer the critical AoE spells, the critical AoE ultimates. They went in separately. Well, not even separately. There was just one being used in the team fight. Moonfall only hit one person there, and you already saw the Kaisa steamroll over everybody. Now, Nutty Bars gets to go back with a lot of gold in his pocket. When he comes back, that's going to be a mythic and a pretty large component for his Nyx legendary as well. And this ball lane, suddenly Jizu, Midnight, it's not safe for you. You don't get to fight this anymore. And you've got to be careful because that is a dive comp. You guys are kind of squishy. They've got a big lead. They will dive this bot lane.
100%. 120%, if you will. There is no chance or no scenario where they wouldn't, right? They've rotated it so many times, and now you can see it. That is going to be the Kraken Slayer coming out. A lot of damage coming out from Nutty Bars, who at this point can pretty much 1v1 anyone on the side of AOE veterans, right? This is the massively ahead Kaisa. The only one that I could foreseeably later dueling out is Black Armored, who has not had the best time in the top side, right? Very, very rough time. Now we're going to see a little bit of a dance here, as he is now down a full level plus a mythic. I think he's actually going, I want to say that's actually a Bork build early on. Emperor May still being the recipient of these fights, and they're just going to try and keep going. That's going to be the hook and the unleashed power. One more is going to catch it. Average jungler just enjoying those kills in the mid.
Oh, JC, you don't get to stay here. This is the punish that's talking about Orbital, earlier Orbital. When your support's roaming, you just kill the AD carry. You've got a Kaisa, you've got a Nautilus. What are you waiting for? You got tank and you got damage. They're trying to reciprocate now, and Axum should have some idea. There were wards which just got cleared out here. Oh, it's too late.
No, now they're going to rotate up again. Bot lane's already gone. Go for that top side. No clone is there. Axum is going to get jumped on. One more knockup is there. Average Joe going to survive, but the kill went to the Thresh. So crucially, the goal's not going to happen. Teleport coming in from Emperor May. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is going to be a little bit dangerous. This is going to be scary. A little bit of sun into just death. Actually gets out. No, just one more shockwave through the ground. But look at bottom lane. 15.5 minutes. mAAd go, what are you doing top? We're taking the base.
I mean, that's why Emperor May TP top. Was it questionable? Yes. Was it suicide? Definitely. But it got that an inhibitor turret before 16 minutes, Orbital. And more importantly, their bot lane is stacked. When Nutty Bars gets into these fights here, body's going to be dropping real quick here. 2 fully completed items. Look across here. For the side of AOE veterans, they only have 1 mythic, 2 mythics now. They are really far behind the power curve.
Body's dropping as fast as Emperor May's health bar. Just, that was a little bit too quick. We are seeing that sacrificial play, though. I guess that's the best way to put it. It wasn't so much as going there to die. It was a sacrifice play. They got so much out of that death, right? So many towers, so much gold in their pocket. For all the kills that have been trying to be kind of, I guess the best term is compensated over to AOE veterans, they still not got much, right? Emperor May's not worth anything at this point. You're not killing the ones with the 500 and 450 bounty on their heads. It is all still in the hands of Mad City Wildcard. And at this point, the one on your screen, Nutty Bars, have to watch out for wherever that Kaisa goes. It's terrifying if you see her ult in. You do not get to contest that. And the only way you do is if Stormblade somehow lands a miraculous scout of the week.
And if we look at where this huge, 5k gold lead is sitting right now, I mean, we're harping a lot on this bot lane because there's a 3.5k gold lead, but hold up, fight breaking out here.
I don't even think this is a fight. It's just a slaughter. In goes Javi. Actually is going to get out. Nope, that's the kill. Diana is going to pick that one up. Black Armor is the next one to fall. Yep, this isn't a fight. It's an execution. That is going to be 2 dead. And the 5th death for a minute. I think it's been concluded that Thresh is not going to work for either of these squads. I think they just need to drop it from the repertoire.
Little bit here. It wasn't really necessarily the Thresh that doesn't work. I think this Thresh is fine in this composition here. You're looking for picks. You've got a Syndra, you've got a Thresh here. Theoretically, it should work. The problem, I think, is just more that they lost control of the game very, very early on and started right off the bat with that ambush from mAAD's bot lane that they hid in the bush, they got the kill, and that set everything behind. I was going to point out huge gold lead in the AD carry, but also in the jungle position on Javi and on Axum here. So all the team fighting tools are online. You've got one and a half. Let's call it Diana Assassin. We've got 2 assassin tools online here. Emperor May is completely, utterly irrelevant right now. You just send Emperor May to a side lane, let him catch it back up and farm, and then when he comes in with the damage, with the first item, we already said body's going to be dropping before that. Ace is going to be coming through. More and more kills, more and more neutral objectives.
357 has 0 fear. He sees a 1-on-3 potential, and he's just like, cool, let's take it. Let's throw out the hook and see who they win. Axum's going to do the same. Yeah, he's straight in the backline. Oh, I think Axum could have taken it. I'm sorry. I was so excited to see Axum try and go man mode right there, or monkey mode, whatever you want to call it, and just cause chaos all over the place. But not going to happen. Still a little bit too early on, right? 19 minutes into the game. Baron coming up in a minute, and don't want to die at a crucial time and waste your very precious summoner spells. Yeah,
and on top of that, if you ever want to see if Axum's going to go for a play, 2 questions. 1, is Javi nearby? If Javi's nearby, they can do this. 2, is Nutty Bars nearby? If Nutty Bars is nearby, they'll kill everybody. 2 people, as long as Nutty Bars is one of those 2 people, and they can probably 2v4, maybe even 2v5 if it's Javi or Axum there. So that's fine. That's good. It's just poke. Axum can afford to do that. And now Baron's coming up in 30 seconds. Normally at 20 minutes, you can't do Baron. When you've got a 7k gold lead here, when you've got all the cards in your pocket, you can, even if you can't do it, you can certainly bait it. And the fact that they're clearing out vision right now and AOE veterans can't actually walk into that, this is very, very dangerous. And I expect to see, you know what? mAAD can just turn and do this right now. They're literally just waiting for that scuttle to expire.
For May again, the sacrificial lamb, but this time is out. Oh, this is heartbreaking for AOE veterans. They were like, we tried this 3 times before, it worked 3 times before, and now it's not anymore. Baron being started up. on the
TP.
dot. On the dot, they are going for this. It's going to go down very, very quickly. That is the Baron. And now the possible death. Black Armor is going to try his best to get out. Hops to a ward immediately over the wall. Nutty Bars is godlike. Hook lands on Emperor May. The play is out. The cake is out. Backline Axum is going for all of them. Midnight is going to be sacrificed. Follow up with a couple more. Scatter the Weak lands. Can they get a little bit more? Jisoo is going to pick up that kill, and they're able to trade back one, but it's definitely not going to be enough to even out the massive gold lead that is now in the pockets of Mad City Wildcard.
Not as bad as it could have been, Orbital. It's ultimately a 1-for-2 here. Yes, you gave up Baron, but it is fairly early on. Death timers are low as well. So all those members who are dead will be backed in order to defend that inhibitor turrets. And when you get the Baron buff, getting outer turrets is nice. But what's important is cracking these inhibitor turrets, finding ways into the base. They already cracked the bot lane one, so I expect to see them go back, shop, buy all the items they want, get an even bigger lead. 3 completed items of Nutty Bars right now. Then just go shove right in mid and watch this AOE struggle. You can dive them at this point.
We didn't even touch on the fact that, like, this is the craziest bit. We haven't even gotten to touch on the fact that it's an Infernal Soul, right? It's 3 Dragon Sack. This is Infernal Soul game. That should be, like, the main priority. And we're like, they don't even need it. They don't need to touch that. They can win without it, right? This is a ridiculous setup that they currently have prepped for them. And the question is like, where was this in game number 1, right? They could have come out with this composition way earlier on, and it feels like it would have made the series that much easier, but instead they went for more of a, you know, early game, win lane, win game style. This makes them seem much more confident and a lot more clean in their execution. Now we're going to see Black Armored possibly getting jumped on. 357 is a little bit too far ahead for his own good. I am Javi. Might get zoned out, but that is going to be the counter strike. Not going to be landing on anyone.
Disappointed in Javi there. That was a free engage. If they're pulling you in, you go in and you move fall right away. You've even got the stopwatch right now. So Javi is in prime position to kind of suicide engage if they want here. You won't even die. Odds are you'll wipe them before that happens. I'm a bit surprised you're not pushing harder. You have a dive composition, and one of the things you can do with the dive composition is dive turrets. That is kind of why you name it that particular name, because you're going in, you're getting kills. And sure, you might lose members in the back end of it, but as long as it's not Nutty, it's not Javi, you're not giving bounties, you're pushing with the Baron buff as well, and you get more. If they choose to be more passive and not as proactive, they can, as we talked about, fall back onto that dragon as well. So it's not the end of the world. It's just a slower way of playing the game.
They can choose whatever pace of the game they want, right? Like, this is, they can do quick, they can do slow, they can do medium, they can go, hey, let's just waddle our way through. I feel like even if they took, okay, Akali didn't follow through. I feel like if they wanted to, they could wait till 45 minutes and probably still be okay, right? Like, that's the feeling I get from this squad. Dragon now coming up, and it has to be given, right? Zero chance for this AOE veteran squad to be able to even try and pick that one up. So they give it over. That is going to be the Infernal Soul up. Midnight's going to keep chasing. There. That's going to be the hook, and they're able to get the kill. Yeah, Emperors, once again, just give... What? I feel could have possibly tried to go out the other way, but I think the bomb would have been enough. So that is going to be the death. Bottom lane, though. Look, 3 members top, only 2 defending. This is an inhibitor down.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you had to spend so much effort to go up there. The good news is this bot side's honestly been open this entire time, and Matt just haven't really pushed in here. So it's kind of like, okay, we lose in hit, but it should have gone down before this anyhow. There's no other major objectives on the map, so Mad needs to continue rotating, looking for something else. But this is a 4v5 right now. They don't have Emperor May with them, and yeah, the Akali's behind, but she's still damaged. She still has execute damage as well.
If Akali came in after a team fight and was just like, let's sweep it through, I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden we see like 5 kills in Emperor May, right? Just ridiculous numbers going up. However, I don't think anyone on this side of Mad City Wildcard will lose a fight at all. This point, you're taking a look at the damage output, right? We see 3 full items on the Kaisa, goes back, picks up a large chunk of extra. Oh, that might be the one that you want. That's going to be 3 or 4 members collapsing, and Axum is going to fall. Black Armor picks up his first kill of the game with only a legendary in his pocket.
You cursed it over. That was a flat out caster curse right there. Saying that, oh, nobody's gonna lose, gets caught. Fight breaking up.
Yeah, now they're gonna go a little bit further in, and I'm sorry, RMC. I think I did jinx it. Nope, never mind. Midnight's about to go down. Now they get the fight. Emperor May is going for it. This is gonna be a little bit crazy. They're gonna keep going forward, and Black Armor gets a heal. Are they gonna fall through? That's the last 5-point shuriken strike. Emperor picks up his first as well.
I mean, we didn't touch on the fact that they kind of got the Inferno Drake here, that additional damage boost. Like I said, 2v4 is possible, and so 3v4 is certainly doable. You can see that everybody who went in together, they're all still living. Only Emperor May even taken low here, and now they're trying to hold 4v3, pardon me, and Gages are ready. Moonfall is there, no Cyclone here. Javi, again, stopwatch, just go.
Just go. Just finish it. Let's hurry up and go. Oh, 357. No, that's mean. He's level 12. He shouldn't be allowed to do that, but he does. Baron coming up now in about 15 seconds. It's going to be so easy for them to take. Nutty Bars, again, so strong. And we didn't even mention Javi actually hopped for that early Nash's suit, so the auto attack trade patterns are ridiculously strong. So every single member on this mAAd City Wildcard squad are ready for the fight.
Oh, they're trying to do both at the same time. They're trying to do Baron while also looking for the fight. Normally, I'd say this is risky, but again, I just want to see that Moonfall Cyclone combo come down once, just once. Give it to me. Big AOE wombo combo.
Well, they're going to go for it. This could be the option. They get a Cyclone onto Average Jungle, and he draws it in. Death Charge jumps straight in the middle. That's going to be the Moonfall. Not letting on too many, so they only lose one so far, but the damage has been done. They're routed on the wrong side of the rift. They are moving up towards the opponents, but the shutdown is going to go through. Rest of the kills are going to be happening. Nutty Bar with the golden stance, denying the unleashed power kill. And Average Jungler is going to get run down. Now the ADC and support are going to duel out the Baron. Average Jungler might be able to safely recall, but I mean, why go for a kill when it's not worth that much? He is 4-1-4, but the Baron is way more important.
No. Oro, you don't gotta say why go for a kill when it's not worth it. If you last hit a caster minion, there is no reason you don't go for Average Jungle Enjoyer there. He was dead to rights. He's low on health. You add death timer, and you can just push in and win. That I just don't understand. I lost for words, Orbital.
I've never heard RMC lose his mind over not getting a kill. Just the anger and the ferocity. That's the angriest you will ever hear RMC, by the way. Just missed a possible kill. It's like, man, that was 300 extra gold. But agreed, it could have been the shutdown. However, it looks like mAAd City Wildcard are maybe trying to play the tempo a little bit slower. Make sure they don't give any chance for a comeback. We know that veterans have done it once or twice before. Don't want to let it happen again. So we are seeing the full might come out. That's going to be a stun on Emperor May again. A lot of question marks into the stun, and it's going to go in. Oh, my lord, Emperor May. What is going on here? They're going to just dive on in. That's what you wanted, RMC. That's the 3 kills, and that could easily be the game.
Final, literally shuriken flippingly here, Orbital. Like, that should have happened a long time ago. They finally do walk in, and just as you're saying, they're playing it nice and slow. They decide to just end the thing here. Only question is, do they pick up more kills?
Yes, at the cost of Axum getting kicked into the fountain. Feels bad, but the auto attacks, Nutty Bars is going nutty here. 13-0-6. That is a monstrous scoreline, godlike 2 times over. Now they're going to get the hook. Are they going to get a little bit more? That's going to be the kill for the Moonfall and the double kill to end the game 23-10. 29 minutes in. That is going to be all they wrote for game number 2.
And when I look at how the games have played out, Orbital, it has really been decided largely in the draft here. Who's got an easier to execute composition? Game 1, it was AOE veterans. They got themselves a nice, easy press R composition, and they fought back from an incredibly big early game deficit. Game 2, mAAd City Wildcards, you've got a very cohesive team identity. You just want to go in, and you out in a team fight, and you want to dive, and they do it. Both losing teams now. mAAd City in game 1, they tried to do it all. That didn't work. AOE veterans, they tried to get agency. They tried to make individual mechanic plays. That's not your identity. Yes, a pick comp's all well and good, but only if you can start at least even and try and get ahead here. You're not the hands players. I want to see AOE veterans go back to their namesake. You belong to Area of Effect Esports. What should you do? area of effect compositions. That simple.
Oh man, let's hope they do, because of course this is all riding on the line. If they can take it home, they will put Mad City Wildcard at 2-1, and they will move to 2-0 of their own. So we'll see if they can do that, or if Mad City Wildcard will continue their undefeated run. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the conclusion of tonight's UAL series. All right, we are back with game number 3. We are ready and rolling with what will be the end of this series, no matter what. Of course, Mad City coming out with game 2 when AOE Veterans had won game number 1. And the question marks are all there. Who is going to come out on top? Who is going to be able to take it home? And honestly, Mad City Wildcards look so good in game 2, but we already into draft. Draft stayed the same from game number 2, and now we see the picks. Mad City sticking with the Diana, but a large swap up on the AOE veteran side. Not the AOE that you were probably hoping for, RMC, but a little bit more pick potential with the Kayn and the Ezreal.
I mean, Kayn does AOE, Ezreal does AOE. I don't know what you're talking about, Earl. You know what? Here's my criteria for the draft. It's very, very simple. Each piece of engage counts for 1 point. Every AOE you have Counts for 1 point. Telling them up, that's the trap I'm rooting for.
Okay, there you go. There you go. All right, so how many points are each of them worth? Come on, we gotta get the tallies out, and I will argue every single one of them. Let's see.
Okay. You know what? Bonus point if the same spell has both. So I'm giving 2 points to Diana so far. Karma's got 1. Kane's got 1. Ezreal's got 1. Kaisa's okay.
Technically three, or something. I don't know.
Kaisa doesn't really have AOE. Okay, so we'll go
I mean,
3, 2, right?
Hit like 3 people at once. What are you talking about?
Okay, fine. But okay, so 4 for my card for wild cards right now. You know, AOE. Oh, I like the Wukong. They've got 4 here, so you know, pretty even so far.
RC's losing his mind here on the back. I'm dying over here.
You say I'm losing your mind. We'll see if I'm right at the end of this, Arnold. We'll see if I'm right.
you need that picture of the conspiracy theorist in the background. That would fit you so well right now.
That's the tinfoil hat here, please.
It would be great, but we are in. So Drat has fired off. These teams are so ready to get into games. So the Wukong locked in. How many points is that? How many points is Wukong? Come on, tell me.
Like I said, 2 points. So right now, okay. I think both teams, more seriously, both teams have had a pretty decent draft so far between the two. The bans are the same, which is one of the reasons why we're not really touching on the bans too much. The only change up here, Renekton being banned, LeBlanc is potentially on the table here for Mad City wildcards, and that's something that's been denied the entire time here, and I think AOE is finally giving that up because they have counter pick. You can give them the LeBlanc and then pick something like the Lissandra for yourself here.
I would even say the Syndra is actually a pretty good counter. It didn't look great in game number 2, but I think it's a solid counter pickup, right? Maokai for the... Wow, okay. That is a support Maokai, I believe, coming out. And we'll see what else they decide to pick up. Mad City still need their top and mid here and have a couple options for themselves.
Yeah, Karma did just receive a nerf this patch. It's a 380 nerf. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually messes with velocity quite a bit for solo lane Karma. So I'd be a little bit surprised to see the solo lane Karma here. We're just going to assume it's bot lane for now, which isn't great, actually, isn't ideal into the Maokai. And the Jax getting picked up, and it was Black Armored who played it last game. So Axum here has just been taking away all your top lane picks. You play Wukong game 1, I'll take it game 2. You play Jax game 2, I'll take it game 3.
They don't stop. They're just trading champions over and over again until one of them concedes and says, you're the better top laner. I feel that's what's going on here. It's just like, you know, just like big top lane energy is what they're going for. Mid lane, we see the Victor. I think we saw that back in game 1.
Yeah.
I think it was for AOE veterans. So really kicking things off, saying, hey, now we get a chance to play it. And options are available once again. I would personally love to see a Xerath. I'm not going to lie. I love Xerath so much. I think it'd be hilarious to play it here. I don't think it's going to happen, of course. That is a very me silver elo pick. So I don't think they're going to drop there. Nope, they're going to go for the Sylas. A little bit rough on the ultimate choices, but still a solid lane pick.
Actually, I really like the Sylas pickup here in terms of the ultimates you can steal. I'm more concerned about the laning phase because we saw this Sylas Victor matchup. This was game 1 where actually the mid laners were swapped. It was Emperor May who played the Sylas, and it was I believe it was Stormblade on the Victor here. And when we saw what happened, Sylas was struggling in lane. When you add sort of the jungle pressure that can come in as well, Diana and Victor together can easily burst down the Sylas as well. So a little bit surprised they're opting for that as the counter pick. But you do have the Moonfall you can pick up. You do have the Chaos Storm you can pick up from the Victor as well. So we were half joking about the sort of points that each team would have. Mad City wildcards at this point, I'd say have about 10 points. Kane's got 1 knock-up AoE. I'll give him 2 for that. Ezreal's got 1. Wukong, I'll give him 3, 6. Maokai's actually really solid for that. And then you add Sylas, who's got a 10. They're probably at about 11 or 12. I think AoE veterans have more AoE in their pocket here right now. But I think it's just going to come down to who can AoE harder, and more importantly, who gets the engage first with their AoEs.
RMC, you know how you always tell me not to do math on stream? I'm gonna need to see that math work right there, because I would love to see that coming out here. I do agree though. AoE veterans have the CC, and it feels like both squads actually have defaulted into it, right? Both of them have attempted to try that all-out team or the all-out skirmishy types, and it just hasn't panned out. Now defaulting back to what they enjoy, what they know, and what they've been successful on, it's going to be a test of which cannonball is bigger, which one is able to be fired off a little bit more precisely and be able to hit the enemy team where it hurts. So we will go ahead and get ready for that game. We'll go to a very short commercial break, be right back with game number 3, the final game of the evening here for the Unified Advanced League. And we are back with what will be the final night of games. We also have a little bit of a swap up with the champion or the players once again, I think. No, this is yes, actually, because we do have Midnight swapping back to the jungle. Average jungle enjoyer now at support, playing a tree, by the way, so still partly in the jungle. And then Jisoo on the ADC.
Yeah, I mean, it had to live up to the name, right? That's why you played jungle first 2 games. And Orbital, both these teams currently undefeated technically. AOE veterans, we said, have only actually played 1 game so far in the UAL because of a reschedule, and one of the games in the other match was a FF due to E-subs. So they're really looking to try and find something here. And with the compositions for the teams, usually when you see sort of 2 big team fight wombo combo teams, it's not uncommon to see a really quiet early game, and then nobody's looking for kills. Everybody's just looking to scale to 6, and then you start team fighting around objectives. I really hope that's not the case. And the fact that Nutty Bars and 35701 on this Karma are so far up the lane right now and looking for a cheese, not cheese gank, but like a cheese kill, makes me very hopeful that we're going to see some early action here.
I like how we see that with possibly like the least amount of CC down there, and no, no,
yes,
no, RMC. I
love it.
You know, I cast or curse, you cast or predict. I think we make a good pair because Jisoo has no flash now. This is getting ridiculous.
Jisoo no flash already half chunked as well, and yes, Ezreal is a very safe AD carry, but you don't have enough mana at level 1 without that tier. This is not tier Ezreal. This is Duran's Blade Ezreal. So you can see Jisoo. You don't get.
Oh my god! If he had a Q, he'd be dead. If Nutty Bars had a Q, Jisoo would be dead, 100%. He has the heal, but I don't think he'd be able to react fast enough. That's just my call there. So close, and this hurts now. AOE veterans not liking how this bot lane is panning out. Top lane, same thing again. Is gonna be no. Why? Top lane, we're seeing the dance. He's still far. Oh my gosh, he's so no. I'm done. I'll see you later, everyone. Have a good night. I have a good night.
Oh my goodness, Orbital's just done. I mean, I kind of agree. You stayed, you took a risk, and you tried to play dodgeball. You failed, you died. It definitely cost you. We're seeing trades everywhere else as well. And now, average jungle enjoyer, you're 1v2. RMC.
Guess which summoner on Jisoo is still up? Guess which one is still up? I'm so mad right now.
It doesn't matter. He was dead. And so is that average jungle enjoyer. You know what? Actually, I respect the fact he didn't use it earlier, because now at least he still has a chance in lane. If you use the heal and the flash, and you're down gold and levels, this bot lane is literally unplayable at that point. Note that he did not have enough gold to pick up tier. He just bought refillable pots.
Yeah, that is also true. So we'll see if they can sustain through the lane. Again, this lane matchup, you have to think, right? It's a lane of unfortunate swap ups to substitution. So maybe Jisoo is not as comfortable here. And yeah, that's going to be a flash in. They're just going to go hard here. Goodness. This is a punishment of punishments here. Teleport coming in. One more artifact might be there, but no, Nutty Bars has the heal advantage. Black Armor is going to come in with the retaliation kill. So, you know, for all the kills that have gone through, now Black Armored is going to have the advantage in the top side.
Okay, see, if they use the heal early, they use the exhaust, you know, they don't find the kill there. It's all going to plan here, Orbital. The idea is we'll get Black Armored ahead, we'll get Midnight ahead. They were just stacking up the bounties, so it's more efficient for the Wukong TP. Not actually.
Big brain, maybe about 11D chess, I want to say. A little bit too advanced for our liking. But, of course, that still means that the bottom lane is way out of hand right now, right? In that entire honest factor, it is not anywhere close for Midnight and Black Armored. So it feels like AOE veterans have to start focusing on this mid and top lane if they want to make anything happen.
Yeah, the good news was that up top, it wasn't like Axum got a free push. Midnight was able to rotate up, collect a whole bunch of farm as well. So the top side of the map for AOE right now is strong. They can play through that. And more importantly, they can continue to cover Stormblade. If both your side lanes are losing, then Stormblade's in trouble, and then you have all across losing lanes here. They don't have TP, though. So it's likely they'll seed this first Drake, and it is that Cloud Drake. We had it in game 1. We talked about the fact that having your outs off cooldown faster is better early on in the game. And when we've got these teams who have these big AoE ultimates like the Cyclone, like the Nature's Grasp for the side of AoE, or, the Moonfall, the Chaos Storm coming from the side of mAAD City here, that first Drake is actually pretty important.
Always nice to get stacking in Jisoo. Oh, no. Oh, no. Another set of possible deaths. A couple auto attacks in the last tick. That's going to be it. That is the bullying of Nutty Bars and 357, shutting down Jisoo into 0-3-1 status.
AoE Veterans bot lane just needs to reset right now. Mentally reset here. You've got an Ezreal. Just farm from half a screen away if you have to. You're 18 CS to 40 CS from Nutty Bars right now. You do not want to interact. Just stay safe. Farm up under your turret. That's all you can ask for. And unfortunately for average jungle enjoyer, you don't get to roam. Because normally an Ezreal under a turret is fairly safe for the most part, but against things that can dive like a Kai'Sa, like a Diana, you need to be down there to peel to provide that CC as well. So AoE Veterans just need to play as if they don't have a bottom side of the map in the near future.
And just say that, you also knew that this was probably going to happen, right? You blind picked the Ezreal. You knew that it was up, and then they counterpicked with the Karma and the Kai'Sa. And then you pick a Maokai support, which I just feel is kind of throwing that lane away. So why are you playing aggressive, right? So a lot of question marks there. Maybe they were going to sacrifice it anyway, but just a little bit heavy-handed in that regard. So a lot of poke going down. 50 CS up, Nutty Bars. It looks like they already got a plate as well, so just so much gold going in their pocket. And if we could toggle the gold, I really actually do want to see. Yeah, 32 to 1700. That is a ridiculous disadvantage.
Yeah, almost double here. And we've seen some games. Once you get double, that lane is basically unsalvageable. You just abandon it. You look for somewhere else. And I'm glad to see that's what we're seeing here. Midnight looking up top here. Should be able to find this.
Well, they're going to try. They have to wait out that counter-strike. And now in the mid lane, we're going to see a little bit of a jump in. Chaos Storms, both dropped by the mid lane. And everyone gets a little party hat on top of their head. That's not going to do too much damage, though. So Stormblade, though, coming out with a decent amount of health more. Kingslayer should help him sustain right up.
Yeah, and we spoke about this particular matchup before. It's a lot about can you out-deal with the sustain from the Sylas. It does not go well for Victor if you keep, just doing short trades over and over again.
Oh, that's going to be Midnight getting a flash in. Can't follow up with much more. But Emperor Mate gets out with just his bare health bar, 357, making the rotate work. A little bit of a root once again. Can they get a little bit more? My gosh. A single Karma running the jungler out. That's when the Karma is definitely out of control.
And if Jisoo hadn't died so many times in the early game, if he wasn't bullied out, maybe the True Shot Barrage could have come across. Maybe they can change things. As it stands, though, TP coming behind.
Yeah, I think Black Armored is out, though. Victor's going to try. Going to get a little wallop into the stasis field. Oh, the bait is real. Had to turn because I think Midnight is a little bit too scary, but Armored is definitely not going to be able to stay in lane now.
Yeah, Armored needs to go back. If not, you're going to run to that Jisoo situation. You overstayed. TP coming in from Stormblade, though. Emperor May didn't react.
No, he didn't. And now the teleport call for Maxim, but this is a 3-on-2. That's going to be Emperor down before the fight could even start. And that's just Axum getting back in time to soak up that wave. Again, more and more kills going in favor of mAAD City Wildcard, except for that top one, of course.
I was like, wait, hold up a second. That was AOE who just found it. And that's good for them. Like we said, these teams, they want to do the same thing here. So if one of the teams starts to fall behind in the early game, it's only going to snowball. When two teams can only throw rock, it's whoever throws rock harder who wins.
Yep. And again, this bot lane, why not pressure the lane that you're already there on? Nice little flash out by Javi. They do take down the tree, who has not been cut down to size. And that kill, I believe, went over to the Kai'Sa once again, 4-1-1 with a 30 CS lead. Should be coming out with a disgusting amount of items here in the next recall.
Okay, Black Armored's looking here. He's got Cyclone. They backed up.
Yeah, now it's going to be a draw mid lane. This excessive fighting on both sides is surprisingly interesting, right? It's game 3, and I just want to say, like, we didn't see this level of aggression, I think, in games 1 and 2. It feels like both teams are almost overcompensating or over-aggressing just because they almost have something to prove.
You know what? It's the fact that they're night owls, your Orbital. The first 2 games were just warm-up. Now they're really here to play. Now they're looking for tons of action, and I want to point out, too, that the ults coming through from Silas and Victor are actually roughly the same timing. So you can actually, every time we see the Chaos Storm come down from Emperor May, theoretically Stormblade should be able to respond here. Didn't do that. So I'm interested to see if Stormblade is waiting to steal somebody else's ultimate and whose there is to really steal. I feel like it's either Chaos Storm or Moonfall here.
Well, he doesn't even have to steal the ultimate. It looks like he's just drawing out the prey. But again, Javi is here. One more Kingslayer might make it work. He gets the draw in. Oh, that was such a miscoordination. Javi kills off his mid laner by accident. As that is going to be the trade. Black Armor now on the bot side is going to try and get an extra kill, but outrunning the tree roots, I should say. Nutty Bars might go down here. No, under the tower they go. They're going to get away with that tower dive on the
Knight's coming.
Yeah, a little bit dive over. What more can they get? A couple more auto attacks, but that's going to be the dive in from the Maokai, and he sacrifices his life. Now they're going to try and follow up again. Ooh. This is chaotic battles across the board, resulting in multiple deaths on both sides. But so far, 357 and Nutty Bars have honestly gotten away with way more than they should have.
Oh no, Midnight.
Can he get it? Oh no. Couple more auto attacks. I don't think Midnight has ultimate. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
There's so
that
much
is all that I can say. That's okay. The heal is there. This is going to be a little bit more. One more Q. That's the kill. Shut down for Midnight.
I'd like to remind everybody viewing right now, that's a support versus a jungler. We're casting it like they're equal. That's a support. The Karma should not be able to do that with a Kayn. But when you're 3, 1, and 4 here, you're not just an Enchanter support anymore. You're an Enchanter mid, effectively here. Shirelia's Battle Song picked up as well here. The bot lane for mAAD have their mythics, and I expect to see them start to rotate around a little bit, get that gold going somewhere else.
This is now even more fighting on the bottom side. Moonfall draws Jisoo in 5 deaths deep, and at this point, he is not allowed to step up even a millimeter into lane.
Yeah, Jisoo here, you're not safe alone. Like we talked about the fact that, you know, there are people who can engage on you. Killer Instinct is going to make sure that the moment you Arcane Shift away, you've got no other escapes. You've only got your flash available, and same thing with the Diana. We saw how patient Javi was with the Moonfall there, waited till after, knowing that there was no further escapes to punish.
Axum getting right back out under the tower, but Midnight is free to farm that one up. It looks like that is going to be a still winning on the ultimate or the form shift, but Axum is going to hop his way back into the tower safety. Throws up the counter strike, still going to be a little bit difficult. Has to flash away. Jump in goes Midnight, and the Reaper reaps another life. 4-0-1 for the Kayn.
It's come to my attention, Orbital, I've made a horrific mistake here. It's not about the AOE CC at all. These guys are just going in. It's more about how much CC can you just put down single-handedly. How much burst do you have? And right now, it's looking mAAD favored here. They're wailing away on these turrets. They're about to get one, maybe both, and that's going to blow the gold lead wide open once that happens.
Yep, they're trying to pressure in. Looks like an extended trade of towers. Who's going to get the first tower? One more auto attack is going to do it. I think the Wukong's got it. Oh, one auto attack. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, I would say, in the grand scheme of things, but still feels good to pick that one up.
Yeah, and we have to keep in mind too, Black Armor is not doing great in the top lane either. He is down CS right now. He's only even in levels. It's more just that there is attention from AoE to the top side, as there should be, considering how far behind their bot lane is. And we're seeing mAAD prioritize their bot lane. It's a bit of a vertical jungle, a vertical split in the map. And the vision also reflects that. You can see how red the top side of the map is. Now, there's no dragon here for mAAD to take. They already took it a minute and a half ago. So I want to see AoE just take that Herald, because why not? It's free real estate right now. And if you don't do it now, once Nutty Bars is unleashed towards that mid lane, you might not be able to get it then.
Yep. Top lane now going to fall. So it looks like that is going to be mAAD City Wildcard being able to make 2 towers fall their way. The chase is on, though. Black Armored getting a
Oh,
second knock up the Cyclone, keeping Axum in place, and now Midnight is going to come in to help sweep up that kill. Nice little dance right, left, and around. I believe that is Midnight's. Nope, that is going to be the second kill for Black Armored.
Hold up, this is Blue Cane with Conqueror. I wonder? Okay, that's interesting because generally we see Red Cane with Conqueror. Blue Cane usually runs, something like the Electrocute there, and Javi might die.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit dangerous. Has to run away, gets a heal out, but I think it doesn't matter again. This is a Cane that is fed like crazy. A little bit of a rotate in, and that is just a dangerous scenario of death. Follow into death they shall go, and a shutdown goes away to Nutty Bars.
Okay, so 35701 disconnected during that fight. That's unfortunate. Would it have changed anything? Realistically, probably not significantly. Maybe a little bit lower here. But I want to go back to the fact that we've got Shadow Assassin Kane for Midnight here. That's not something we expect to see with the Conqueror. But considering the pacing of the game right now and the fact that there's no true tanks on the side of mAAd City, I really do like it. You're trying to burst down a target immediately, and especially considering that we're not seeing the teams group up. It's not 5v5, huge, massive team fights just colliding with each other. There's a lot of pick potential here to be had.
Oh, that's going to be a tag. Can they follow? Nope. Okay. Stormblade, not window shopping. That's a good thing. And they're going to keep trying. Let the poor man recall.
No,
Twice
hold him there as long as you can. Yeah, I mean, he has TP. So the best case scenario here is, you delay long enough that he has to TP. Actually, didn't have to TP, did decide to TP here. Dragon's not up for 1 minute, so I'm a little bit surprised that they opted to do that, but they're just trying to funnel as much gold into Silas as possible. He's going to be one of the late game conditions to try and assassinate Nutty Bars, who is still 6-2 and 4, is still a huge monster in the game, and probably is the biggest key right now for mAAd City. Whereas for AOE, you're looking at Midnight. He picked up a Serpent's Fang as well. So he's in a really good situation to try and deal with this Karma, with this Kai'Sa.
Dragon coming up very soon, so let's go ahead, take a look at the itemizations that we need to keep track of. Most importantly is going to be that Serpent's Fang for Midnight. On the ADC role, though, Nutty Bars has a Kraken Slayer plus the Collector. That's going to be average Jungle Enjoyer having to flash away. That is the Twisted Advance. Nature's Grasp is going to go through. Emperor May is going to get assassinated where he stands. Now Stormblade is going to try and sustain for as long as he needs, and he does.
TP
That's
as well.
just a kill. AOE veterans are doing it. Out of nowhere, they come out with a select 4 kills. And Axum goes, what? Where did you go?
They just all got wiped here. And if I said before that 35701 might not have necessarily had the biggest impact on that particular fight, it's really true now with Serpent's Fang picked up, right? You saw how quickly they were all just getting melted. And Black Armored coming in, that was just icing on the cake there. So they pick up all the kills, they get the dragons as well, and AoE veterans are in a good position. They just need to make sure that they snowball this lead, well, 200 gold, 300 gold lead properly here. They did get a pick off to start that fight. If they don't have the pick off, the next fight's not going to go quite as well for them here. So they have to be conscious of that, be aware, and not get sucked into their own myth of infallibility there.
Could be the bane of their team. Axum again getting caught out a little bit out of range, but the follow-up damage is there. Midnight felt like he could chase a little bit further, but doesn't want to take that chance. I think that is a rightful call. Bottom lane is going to fall 3 towers now to the side of mAAd City, and the Wildcards are starting to even things out. Remember, they are the ones that have 2 dragons up. This is one dragon up, very sorry. Mountain Soul is in for play, so second time we're seeing that Mountain Soul. And honestly, it will be nice to have a couple extra shields that they can pick it up, most notably for the Wukong, Kayn, and the Maokai.
Yeah, I think for mAAd City too, trying to get that shield is going to be absolutely key, because that is a shield that Serpent's Fang is not going to affect. The way the Shield Reaver kind of works is you cut the shields by half when you hit it, and you also stop the shields from giving you 100% shielding. So effectively just have it. Having that mountain right off the bat with the resistances is going to be very, very nice for trying to stop that insta-burst that Kayn is looking to try and do here with the resistances on top of that little bit extra shield. Whereas for AoE veterans, you're not quite as in danger of getting insta-gibbed here. Yeah, it'll be nice, but it's not critical.
The punishment is real. AOE veterans have done a very good job of figuring out one place that they can pick every single time, and that's going to be the heal up, but the jump in. Moonfall is going to land on 3. Can they get any more? Jump in from that is going to be Nutty Bars. Wow, Nutty Butter. I don't know what I'm saying there. This is a cluster that just happened. That's a 2-1. Late teleports, though, so they don't get much more than that. AOE veterans finally finding Axum's health.
Yeah, that was rough to watch. Nutty Bars is still around, though. Oh my goodness, Midnight.
357. Took so. Oh, Jisoo, the revenge of Jisoo here in the mid lane.
That is sweet, sweet revenge for this Ezreal right now. Still no mAAd, by the way. You're only sitting on the Divine Sunderer. So it's not as if Jisoo's able to really turn the tides single-handedly. He's relying on picking off kills. And at this point, Midnight, 8-1-6. You're done, boy. Sit down. Start giving kills over. You don't need to be the one picking anything else up here. It's better for you to get your other carries ahead. We've seen Stormblade be able to handle Nutty Bars. You want Jisoo online to now be able to kite back and handle everyone else, be it the Jax, be it that Diana, or whether it's just hunting down that victim.
And let's just talk about Jax, right? Games 2 and 3 have both looked pretty rough. I would say not the best showing, and you were talking about how it has been picked up, I think in other leagues, you know, the professional play, as a counterpick to some of these champions in the top side. What's kind of causing it to fail here? Is it just a constant pressure that's being applied every time it's picked, or is it, you know, more of a mechanical difference, maybe not knowing the matchups?
Sorry, not gonna lie, I missed, what are we talking about here?
You know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to something else. We're going to another option, which is Jisoo again, poking out in that mid lane. Baron is up, though. Last time we saw this happen, mAAd City took it pretty much off a spawn. They are a little bit behind, of course, about 1.7 behind, so don't want to chance it just yet.
Well, we can't compare this to the last game where they were ahead by, what was it at that point? Like 9 kills, 8 kills? Like they were 6K up and they had a dive comp, whereas AOE had a pick comp. This time, you're both running sort of team fight compositions. I don't want to call them dive compositions, but brawling compositions. These teams want to fight. And we already talked about the fact that, hey, they want to do the same thing. So whoever's ahead actually has a significantly bigger advantage. And I like the death push they're setting up, because there's one way you kind of turn it, but...
Ooh, this might be a little bit dangerous. 357 now, a little bit too far up, is going to get destroyed where he stands. However, the trade back, both supports are down. Emperor May on that wrong side and has to sacrifice as well. Midnight is just straight up popping off into the wall. They go, and Javi can't get a good catch. That's going to be
he can turn.
Midnight is going to get away. The heal is real. He is going to stay alive. Midnight is absolutely going to solo this entire universe here, as Black Armored is going to push on their own. That was a 1v3 slaughtering by that Kayn.
He had mAAd before Jisoo did. Midnight is so far ahead. That was realistically kind of like it was like a 2v4, 2.5v4, but that's a 1v3. Midnight can literally 1v3 right now, and the shielding 35701 can't really do much. The way you deal with this Kayn at this point is you have to burst him down. You don't have point and click CC, unfortunately, on your team. The tether from Karma takes time. Counter strikes from Jax needs a little bit of time before you can reactivate it. Moonfall's an instant knock-up, but it's very, very short duration. Gravity Well, again, there is lag time on that. I believe it's 1.5 seconds here. So you have no point and click CC. You just need to instantly focus down that Kayn the moment he walks into you.
It's such a tall task, but I think you hit it right on the head. Those are the only conditions you have to try and beat Midnight, and it's not going to work. That is, again, the Humble Trespass, claiming his 12th life. Javi goes golden with no chance in sight, and AOE veterans are fighting pick after pick to give themselves a 23-13 kill lead.
That's brutal to watch. And bot side, while that main fight was happening there, Stormblade just pushed out Emperor May, blew the flash, and forced him to recall as well. So they're just starting to win all their 1v1s, their 2v2s in equal numbers right now. AOE veterans are just better. And the scary part is the bot lane that they spent so much resources early game to keep down. Jisoo's starting to come back online here. Tier is fully stacked. Once that mAAd is online, you won't win the 2v2. You won't win against Nutty Bars necessarily, but you should be able to win something like this.
Wow, Axum going super, super hard for this kill. Might be able to get it, but the heal comes out. That's going to be one more bonk with the staff. Axum is going to try his best to run away now. A little bit of a blast cone, but again, Black Armament is able to pick up that one with the extended Q.
Oh boy, oh bro. Let's catch our breaths. I feel like we've been going nonstop for like the last 15 minutes here. We're roughly at the 25-minute mark, and we're literally at about a kill and a half per minute right now. Objectives have been picked up, but in a sort of haphazard way where it's like, let's just go there and fight there. Dragon down for the next 3 minutes. We see AOE. They are the ones stacking a full Mountain Drake right now, and it's paying dividends. They're getting harder and harder to kill. Baron is up as well for both of these teams. And I want to see AOE force the Baron. They already know they're the stronger team. And with a Maokai, Nature's Grasp is very difficult to land. But if you force the enemy team through a choke point, and again, Mountain Map, tighter choke points, it's easier for you to look for that engage or just flat out zone them out from being able to look for it.
I mean, that's one way to zone out. You just kill them. You don't even have to zone at that point. That is zoning. That is the control that you need. Midnight is straight up the Grim Reaper at this point. We are talking about Nutty Bars in game number 2. This one is the Midnight Show.
Yeah, that's a death zone if you try and walk in there. And it's blind right now. They've successfully cleared out most of the vision. Sadly, there's one that they don't see just across the wall from Baron there. And that's really what's allowing Mad City to decide, hey, we don't want to go in just yet. Speaking of which, they now have to go in. Baron has been started.
Yep, and Jax has teleport as well. They might be able to bring this into a 4-on-5. Stormblade is looking for it as well, but they can dance it. Remember, they have the Mountain Dragon. They have a bit more armor and magic resist than is normal. And it looks like they're actually going to kite off. It was down to 6k. I'm surprised that they decided to peel off.
I don't know if that's the right call. 35701 was late coming out of base as well. So if anything, just focus it down. Just leave the Nature's Grasp to disengage that you just literally only need your support. Midnight.
Oh.
That's
yeah.
one.
I think Midnight's going to fall though, and that's a big damage source. Can they find the backline? Jisoo or Javi is going to get in the backline, but again, the Moonfall has no damage behind it. The punch is not there, so the retaliation Haymaker is going to come out. That is going to be Stormblade going ahead, walking away with his life, but a 2-for-1 trade means that it is open inhibitor time if they wish to break the base.
I want to note there was a 700 gold bounty on Midnight. He was fully stacked, and Nutty got the kill again. So it really feels like both teams are kind of all inning on one specific player, whether intentional or not. And for the side of Mad City right now, it's Nutty. If Nutty can survive the initial burst, he can turn the tides. And we've seen that Midnight, for whatever strange reason right now, seems to have a fixation on this Karma. I'll grant you Karma is very annoying, and you do want to take her early in the fight so she can't spam those shields. But at the same time, Karma's not the issue right now. If you can kill Nutty Bars, let Karma spam all the shield she wants. They don't have enough damage to turn the fight just yet.
What's even crazier, it looks like 357 is actually opting for a more AP heavy build. Normally around here, you would see some sort of shielding buff, maybe an Ardent Sensor or something of the sort. Instead, it's straight into the Zanya, so definitely trying to keep himself alive a little bit longer. And it's just a little bit of, I want to say, a selfish build, which is necessary. This is the point where selfishness keeps you alive and continuously fighting. Now we're going to see the Dragon coming up here again. This is a very important one, 5th one of the game. And this is going down very, very quickly, so I don't know if the side... Yeah, they can't even contest it. Javi is going to run away. And that is going to be the 3rd Dragon. The 3rd Mountain Dragon going over to the side of AOE Veterans.
Mad City don't have the luxury of poking here. You don't have an Ezreal. It's not safe for you. So it's getting harder and harder to contest these objectives, and they don't have a reliable way of finding a pick. I think they need to sort of look into getting Emperor May to set up a zone for them to control. But that does mean they have to be at the objective first. If you're walking in, you're already on the back.
It's so scary watching Midnight continuously dip, dive, and dodge through the walls. Like, every time you see it, I'm always worried that the edge of the W is going to tag someone, and they're going to lose, like, 50% of their HP, right? Like, that is a huge fear. I think that Mad City currently have, and they have to play accordingly. That's going to be the speed up. Coming out, again, 4-member set, but the Wukong off on the side. Flashed in from Average Jungle Enjoyer, who throws out the Nature's Grasp. Are they going to catch it when they're routing them? Ever so slightly, so that is going to be the route. They do tag both members, and that's all they need. Draw in they go, and they have found the opening fight. Emperor goes down. Those are the kills. And AOE veterans have slaughtered mAAD City Wildcards.
It's about who's finding the engages first. And I saw the Moonfall. I thought for a second there that if mAAD lands this 5-man Moonfall, they win this. And then I realized it was Stormblade's Moonfall, and Javi was not even in the fight. Javi's only alive because he didn't manage to get in there quick enough right now. And for mAAD City, what do you do at this point? You saw them looking for it. I thought coming in from that angle was smart. But the problem is once that Nature's Grasp comes out, you're suddenly on the wrong side of the map. You can't get out. And AoE can always send 3-4 people to hold you there and one person to split push. You actually can't get away.
AoE veterans feeling better and better about some of those engages because that one felt like the most forced fight of the game. Right now, Stormblade is going to go ahead, dive out a 3-5-7. They're going to try and stop this. Javi jumping in, can't get the smite steal. That is going to be the death. Stormblade still holding off two. Is going to fall to Nutty Bars, and this might be the chance. Again, Baron is up. Midnight can't be slowed, and is going to get jumped. Emerald Trespass into safety. He's going to get a lot of healing back over the wall. What a bunch of bursts. Is going to come out again 2 for 3, but Jisoo might have a couple problems again. Can't really fight it. That's going to be Cyclone going up typical for Nutty Bars, but the wall up is there, and Black Armor with the Divine Thunder is going to finish out the ace and potentially end the game.
Again, Midnight, odd target priority. When Nutty Bars splashed like backwards, you should have just turned. Yeah, you do win this, but that's just because you already had a 10k gold lead at this point. Yeah. And Nutty almost turned it. Javi's coming up. I don't think you're gonna be able to stop this entire. I think this is game over.
This is a Diana watching the base crumble. Can't do much against a Wukong who is very, very fed. Second ace coming out. AoE veterans take it. They take the series, move to 2-0 in a thrilling best of 3 series.
The game started slow. The match tonight started slow, Orbital. Game 1, it was riddled with a delay to start. It was riddled with pauses. But I'm glad we stuck it out because it got consistently more exciting. And Game 3 here, an absolute bloodbath. Both teams delivered everything on the table. It's worth noting that AoE veterans actually had a substitute come in for them and were still able to pull this out. And mAAD City Wildcards, even when they were down 10k gold, they were still firing all the way down. Nutty almost managed to pull off the 1v5.
Yeah, just so many great things to kind of watch and see as these teams progress. Remember, these two teams are in the running for the first and second seed of this group, right? Like, they look fantastic. They look awesome. And I want to see them continue to progress throughout the rest of this season. More opportunities await them. The playoffs await them as well. And I want to see more improvements. Midnight looked great. Jisoo, a sub coming in, yes, had a little bit slower early game, a little bit of a problem, but was able to stick it out. So you can see the flexibility. And then, of course, mAAD City, right? Nutty Bars, the one coming out with so many awesome plays, potentially seeing even more improvement for the rest of the team. But RMC, to close it out, I want to get your thoughts here. 3 awesome games, a lot of awesome players. If you had to pick one for an MVP, who would it be and why?
I mean, the MVPs kept changing from game to game. So I've got to pick the biggest MVP out of the 3 matches because I think I'd give it to different people. And that's got to be Midnight, right? 18-3-10. Yeah, sure. You kind of had wonky target priority towards the end. But the fact that you got to 18-3-10, went Shadow Assassin with Conqueror, he pretty much single-handedly carried that game. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to BU Midnight on AoE Veterans here.
All right, well, there you go. Our MVP of the evening is going to be that Kane. Amazing plays across the board for everyone, and I can't wait to see what else they have in store for us. But that will be it for us here on the UAL broadcast tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Orbital. With me was Random Minicaster and Dom Cass on the production. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and have a fantastic evening.